Perth Stadium really suit the game style that Sydney are trying to employ. So can Fremantle drag them into the, I suppose, trenches and make it really dirty, not let those running halfbacks be super creative, and their ability to lock it in is going to be super important tonight. We've seen JL come out during the week and make sure that umpires are aware of the, I suppose,
the focus
service,
on Jai Amos?
the service that the opposition backs are putting into Jai Amos. So hopefully they get some nice, fair contests ahead of the play, and then are able to get their forwards down and around their feet, because that's going to go a long way to making sure that they can lock it in. If they're able to lock Amos out and Big Cyclone Tracy out and rebound really effectively, it's going to be tough for Fremantle to get repeat stoppages and then repeat entries. So you're probably thinking, if you're the Fremantle coaching committee, we want to see the ball in go inside 50 and either goal straight away, but if we don't want it coming out. If it does come out, we want to make sure that we're turning it back over. That's probably their three things that they're pointing at, aren't they?
Yeah.
So it's a big...
How big Sam Switkowski?
Yeah, massive. I was about to say that. He brings so much energy. He's the barometer up forward for their pressure. So the inclusion of him, I think, is going to be massive. But in saying that, you're so right, Shaz. They need to be able to hit the scoreboard. They're ranked 17th at the moment against top 8 teams, Fremantle, only averaging 63 points. So they must score big tonight to win.
I'm really interested about your thoughts with Nat 5, who had just 29% game time last week as the sub against Richmond. To be a tremendous decision from Fremantle. He will be starting this week. Michael Walters starts as the sub for the Fremantle Dockers. There's no late changes, by the way. Sydney's sub is Robbie Fox. What do you make of Michael Walters starting as the sub?
No, I think it's not a bad call. It's probably, been a little bit of heat or criticism on his output at the moment, but not to the point where he has to go back and, find form in the waffle. I think that he is experienced and shows enough leadership and other things that are really, really crucial to the side. Doesn't just have to be his kicks, marks, handballs, goals, tackles, that kind of stuff. Leadership's invaluable out there. So, sit out at the start of the game. When the heat's gone, we'll bring you on, and hopefully your energy and vitality can set us off.
Well, that's it. I think he's the next factor, and especially touch wood for a cash downstairs, but the weather doesn't come in. If the weather comes in, you need your smalls. He's so agile on the ground, and he gives something else up forward. So it'll be interesting to watch that one unfold.
It is interesting you both highlight the importance of the Fremantle small forwards and Lockie in. Both meetings last year, Lockie Schultz kicked 4 goals in each for Fremantle. He's obviously not here anymore. He's at Collingwood. He polled the 3 votes in the round 9 clash between the two. Interestingly, the away side won both meetings last year. The Dockers won the round 9 meeting in Sydney by 17 points, and then Sydney won the meeting back here in Perth by 29 points in round 19. Luke Parker, the 3 votes that night, unable to break into the side.
Who has a remarkable record here in the West, but there are a number of Swans that shouldn't fear coming here to Perth Stadium for our listeners on news radio throughout New South Wales. James Jordan, first time here with the Swans, but is unbeaten in 6 visits to Perth Stadium, and most famously, sat on the bench in the grand final when he was with Melbourne. Didn't get on, but of course was still, as a sub, able to get a premiership medallion.
Did he not come on at all?
He did not come on at all.
I thought he did.
That was still when injury was required.
Oh, okay.
And Melbourne have said, some people have said since, they thought about players like, maybe I'll pretend to do a hammy or an ankle, but they were all a bit worried about bending the rules to do that, even though I'm sure the AFL maybe would have let them off with a very minor punishment if they were just trying to get James Jordan on. But no, official game, official premiership medal, didn't play a minute.
I reckon that year there are blokes that might have pulled a fingernail who came off.
Yes.
So I was surprised that perhaps they weren't able to get him on. But nonetheless...
Yeah, but if you're playing...
I wouldn't want to come off.
There were a few that have said since they volunteered, they said, I'll go off.
Because they were up by a fair bit.
With 10 minutes left and it was over, they're like, I'll go off. And they said, no. Nah.
Those other players for the Swans, by the way, are unbeaten. There's 5 of them in total. James Jordan with the best record, though hasn't been here as a Swan. Errol Goulden is 3 and zip. Justin McInerney is 3 and zip. Logan McDonald, who is a Perth lad, 2 and zip. Joel Amati is 2 and zip. And though Braden Campbell, who is an emergency, isn't playing tonight, he's 2 and zip as well. So plenty of Swans have come here and tasted success. Caleb Sarong has been in the most unbelievable of form. He's the only player in the last 10 games in the competition averaging 32 disposals or more. He leads the league in disposals. He's second for contested disposals. He has been just in absolute, well, I won't say all-Australian form because he was there last year. He's on all-Australian form once more. He's been an outstanding performer for the Fremantle Dockers today. And I'm really keen to see the battle of the midfields, as you mentioned. Isaac Heaney, when it comes to contested disposals, sitting in 5th in the competition. It will be a ding-dong battle out there.
And James Rowbottom leading the AFL in tackles in the midfield there.
Did you see that footage Sydney put up of the race, the Sydney race last week?
No. And
just had Rowbottom looked like, man possessed. And said, hate to be whoever's on the end of Rowbottom's first tackle.
They've got
just
winners.
the laser focus in his eyes.
They've got winners all over the ground, Sydney. Brodie Grundy, second most in the league for having given him frees because he's so challenging for opposition rucks. He's 5th in hit-outs. And Errol Goulden, 3rd most with inside 50s and equal 2nd most in the league for score assists. Fremantle can blanket teams, but I was interested with Justin Longmuir coming out during the week and saying they can't afford to sit back here, Fremantle, tonight. They have to take Sydney on, or he believes they'll get ripped apart.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think that it's got to be who can score the most. I don't think Fremantle can go, we're going to stop you from scoring. Sydney are going to be too strong. They've got to try and kick 12, 14 goals.
It'll be interesting as well because, as I mentioned before, Fremantle against top 8 sides have known to not be able to hit the scoreboard. And again, with Jackson having to play a majority of his minutes in the ruck, what does that look like for the forward line for Fremantle? So it'll be an interesting one to unfold. But again, like Sydney, you're right, Clint, they've got so many incredible players spread across the ground. Like Blakey, if I was a Fremantle coaching staff, you'd probably want to play a defensive forward role on Blakey to stop his run because they generate a lot of their run through half-back. They want to cut through the corridor. It's the quickest way to goal. So how do you nullify scoring from Sydney and able to repel it back inside forward 50? So no doubt, again, they've both done their scout and their homework throughout the week. So I'm interesting to see the different 2 game styles tonight.
Thoughts of Cara Antonio, former AFLW captain of the Fremantle Dockers, also All-Australian Premiership player Sharon Wellingham with us on Friday Night Footy on ABC Sports. 7:20 ABC Perth, ABC WA on ABC Sport Digital, and of course streaming on the AFL Extra button on the ABC Listen app. Let's find out what it's like downstairs. The other member of our team tonight, Akash Vodadar. Akash, welcome.
Good evening, Clint. Normally for Friday Night Footy there is a buzz around the ground, but I think Mitch summed it up the best earlier when he said there is a bit of a sombre mood around the stadium, but the crowd is slowly filling in, and I'll be interested to see if Fremantle break their record home and away non-derby crowd of 51,037, which was against Adelaide in round 4 this season, another Friday night game. In terms of conditions, I was worried about a lot of rain, but at the moment the skies are clear, but one eye will definitely be on the radar with some rain forecast. Looking at the starting benches for the teams, for Freo, Tom Emmett, Hayden Young, Jager Amira and Heath Chapman, with Michael Walters as the sub, and for Sydney, Roberts, Jake Lloyd, Hayden McLean, Sam Wicks on the bench, and Robbie Fox will be the sub.
Thanks, Akash. Good luck staying dry downstairs, and those people currently making their way into the ground behind you will be hoping for exactly the same. About to have the toss of the coin in the middle of the ground, and then we'll have the moment's silence for Cam McCarthy from both teams. Half-time in the other game at Cardinia Park down at Geelong, and the Cats in real strife there. Port Adelaide 12-5-77 to Geelong's 5-6-36. So Port at the moment in control, 12-5-77 to Geelong's 5-6-36. And the Cats, of course, after last week, looking to avoid what would be for them a bit of a shock for Geelong after they'd been so good to start the season, losing to Melbourne. Can they avoid losing to Port? Had the toss of the coin downstairs, Mitch.
Won by Dane Rampy back into the side for the Swans. Last couple of weeks, Dane Rampy wins the toss. The Swans will kick to the city end of the ground, which is the right of the broadcast position here.
Umpire appreciation round?
Yeah, both captains just pausing for a photo with the umpires while they head back to the two teams who are now lining up, Clint.
And both arm in arm, looking towards the big screens on either end of the ground as the lights are dimmed here at Perth Stadium. The field has been cleared. About to have a moment's silence.
We take a moment to remember Fremantle past player Cameron McCarthy, who sadly passed away last night. Cam will be remembered for his love of his family, his teammates, and for footy. Cam was a kind and easygoing person, and he was someone who had a wonderful gift of making people laugh. Cam's talent was undeniable. He played 49 games for the Fremantle Dockers and 21 games for Greater Western Sydney. On behalf of the AFL, the Fremantle Dockers and Sydney Swans, we extend our deepest sympathies to his family and all who knew him. Please wrap our arms around each other tonight as we remember Cameron McCarthy. Thank you all. Rest in peace, Cam.
Spontaneous celebration bursting out around the ground. The cameras winning close on Alex Pearce and Nat 5, two of his teammates. Glassy eyes with the emotion of what has just taken place. A little tear in the Fremantle Dockers' eyes. There's so many people affected by the loss of Cam McCarthy, not just in Perth, but around the entire nation. Thoughts go out to his family and everyone affected by it. Just a reminder, of course, if you or anyone you know needs help, Lifeline 13 11 14 Beyond Blue 1300 224 636. Turn our attention back to the football. The start of the round, it was first in Sydney versus sixth in Fremantle. Which way are we tipping, everyone? Sharad?
Sydney for mine.
Power up.
I'm going to go the Dockers.
Mitch?
I'll go Sydney.
I'm with Sydney as well. I think Fremantle have the ability to win this. This will give us a really good indication of where Fremantle are at. Isaac Heaney goes to stand alongside Nat 5. Gives him a little pat on the back. Friday night footy on ABC Sport. Mitch Turner.
The umpire slams the ball into the turf, and the first tap went the way of the Swans, but it's called back. It's a free kick to the Dockers. Brayshaw takes it. Quick handball to Aish in the middle of the ground. A wobbling kick towards half forward. Banfield out to meet it. Couldn't take possession for Fremantle. Blakey. Clearing kick out to the wing. Alex Pearce gets in front of McDonald for the Dockers. Took it on the gather. Handballs forward to Johnson. Just forward of centre wing, the young Docker. Managed to dance around, find some space. Kick into the forward line, floating across Grundy. Couldn't take the mark, but Tracy caught him high. And the Sydney ruckman will take the free kick inside his own defensive 50. Will now move it on. It goes short to Malkin, just beyond the defensive arc. Takes the mark in front of Bailey Banfield. The kick now back across deep inside defensive 50 to Rampy. It's about 25 metres out from his own goal face. Now goes a dangerous kick up the middle, but a good one to Heaney, who takes the mark.
Lost the football, lets the play on to Warner. Steps inside an opponent, sends it laterally. Looking to move it on again. Here's Goulden. Thought about going forward, then stops and props. Now spears it inside forward 50. He wanted a Marty. Great spell came from Pearce. Comes down for Ryan of the Dockers. Now an opportunity to rebound. This is Draper. Head towards right half back, and the kick goes in the direction of Amos, who flew. It's the opposite 24. Gathering it though in Rampy. Moves it short to Francis. Comes again towards Goulden. Goes looking for Warner. Stretches. Can't mark it. Ball hits the deck. Brayshaw gathers. Tackled immediately. Lost possession. Umpire says play on. No, in the end he says holding the ball. I reckon that's the right decision, but we took some time to get there. And Grundy takes the free kick and moves it short. No mark taken. Good spoil came at the back over the shoulder of Goulden. It hits the deck. Goulden has made no effort to get rid of it. Free kick now Fremantle's way. Brayshaw wrapped him up and he'll play on by hand.
Goes quickly to Aish. Wants to keep it moving. The kick inside the forward 50 over the head of Amos. Beat Rampy as well. Getting back there and gathering is Blakey. Kicks to the middle of his own defensive 50 for Heaney. The question's been asked all week, but holding the ball is clearly back tonight. A couple of early decisions by the umpires as short kick goes to Florent. His kick to Jordan just barely made the distance to the former Demon. Dangerous kick up the middle of the ground. Was a good one though. Was able to find its teammate Adams. Little handball to Papley. His kick towards Hayward. Couldn't get to him. Had to gather and couldn't. Continuing his run as Papley couldn't gather now. Fremantle win it back. Pearce under pressure in his own defensive 50. Handball wide to Brandon Walker in the long sleeves. Was too wide and bobbles out of bounds. It'll be a ball in, just favouring Sydney's attacking side of the broadcast wing. Ticking up to 3 minutes played here in the opening term. Neither side yet to hit the scoreboard. Grundy and Jackson jostle. Jackson was able to work Grundy out of it. Got the handball to Switkowski. Back to Johnson. He gives it to Walker under pressure. Had to step away from a Sydney Swans defender. Did so well and switched it to the far side of the ground of Sharp.
Sharp back to take his kick. We get told to play on. Runs past McDonald, or runs towards him, then kicks towards right half forward. Going up to attack the football, Rampy. He couldn't mark it. Francis had it. Back to Rampy. Hand passed it into the side. Bounced off Foss. And over for a boundary throw in right half forward for Freo. No score so far. 3:42 gone in the opening term. Still half time at the Cattery. Port in front, 12-5 to 5-6. Ball spun back into play. One down by Grundy. Warner tried to take it. Rowbottom tapped it back in his direction. Warner to Grundy. Cleverly done. Florent couldn't take it the first time. Spun back, gathered, got it to Blakey. Stepped away from five. Not Sarong though. Sarong got him, holding the ball. Caleb Sarong is having some sort of year. And he's got a free kick just inside 50. He'll start a little bit to the right of the right hand behind posts.
Just great pressure there. Mids rolling in, pushing forward. It was almost like a second layer of Dockers players. He obviously stepped the first one, but then the next one, really nice, strong tackle by Caleb Sarong.
Must like his chances. He's taken the mouthguard off and popped it in the sock. Caleb Sarong, in he comes. From about 51 out, that's not going to be a score. It's across the face off the hands of Melican, who was underneath it in front of a pack and across for a boundary throw-in at left full forward for the Dockers. There's still no score. 5 minutes gone, opening term. Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
So ball will be spun back in an attacking position for Fremantle. Grundy and Jackson go head-to-head again. Jackson zapped it down to Johnson, gave a little fend-off, feeds the handball to O'Meara. The snap across the body from 40 was curling and bending too far. He misses everything. It's out on the full. It'll be a Swans free kick deep in defence. And Blakey will be the recipient of it. Goes short across his own goal face. Oh, Tracy got across, chopped it off away from Florent. Now Blakey taps it back. Switkowski gathers. Handball off to Boss. He's taken in a tackle, dispossessed. The Swans defending with desperation. Rampy clears the ball to left half back. Coming from the side is Chapman for the Dockers. And a big double fist into the crowd. The Swans defence with some early panic. Uncharacteristic. The Swans defence, a few errors. Fremantle, like Cara Antonio and Sharad Wellingham has said, managed this time to lock it in their forward half. Ball spun back in, spills the way of Chadwarner trying to get away from Johnson. Was able to flick a handball out. Wasn't a good one. Switkowski gives it to Frederick. Steps around one, was caught. Had the handball to Banfield. Retreats beyond 50 to Heath Chapman. His forward handball to Jackson. The Dockers trying to find some space. Heaney crashes in. Manages to knock it out to Rowbottom. And his clearing kick goes to the centre of the ground.
One again, though, by Walker. Tapped it down only as far as Chapman. Hayward got him. Tackled him to ground in the centre circles. He can't get the ball away quickly enough. It's holding the ball. Tried his absolute best. Hayward got him. And he'll move it on short. This is Warner again. The green boots, apparently signed by Errol Goulden. They're not working with that. He's kicking inside forward 50. The intercept mark going the way of Luke Ryan. Dockers have it. Comes back to Chapman, marking defensive edge of the centre square. He'll spin. And the pass had to be precise. It was to Brayshaw. Almost closed down by Florent. And then Florent gives away 50 for infringing Brayshaw, who'll come right up the middle. And he'll look to steer it inside forward 50, leading out to mark. That's a beautiful bit of play as Voss.
That's just a perfect leading lane that Voss had open up in front of him. Sydney didn't have time to get back and set their defence, so perfect opportunity. Comes straight at the kicker.
Back into the team this week, Patrick Voss. 1-1 in his career. His second game at AFL level. Shoots from 40 outs. He would have wanted more. He put it to the right. A minor score. First score of the night comes at the 8-minute mark of the opening term. The Dockers one behind. The Swans yet to score.
Very hot on the whistle early on, the umpires.
The holding the ball calls, you bet.
They have maybe overcorrected this week after a bit of criticism as the Swans chipping it round deep in defence from the kick out. Blakey receives it back, goes wide to the inclusion. Aaron Francis into the side, of course, for Tom McCartan, who suffered that concussion last week against the Giants. Kick up the wing from Francis, flying from behind Jackson. Couldn't get a hand to it, fell out the back to Clark. Handballed backwards to Ace, set him a task, was run down by Wicks. Holding the ball, the Swans take advantage. The umpire calls it back. It was a high tackle. Just slipped over Ace and Wicks came over the top. It's a free kick to Fremantle, short to Sarong. Wasn't 15, had to play on. Managed to chip it up to Hayden Young. Continued his run, Sarong. Got it back on the handball. Now kicks inside the forward 50. Amos tunnelled under it. Jackson does the gather at the back. Managed to have a fumble. Eventually got it. Handballed off to a teammate from the pockets. And it was Voss again. This time the banana almost curled it back. But it's another minor score to Fremantle. Two straight behinds leave the Swans yet to score. 9 minutes played. Friday night footy here on ABC Sport.
Swans go short up the corridor. The inside 50, 6-3 at the moment to Fremantle. Sydney move it beyond defensive 50 to Heaney, who breaks away from his opponent. Kicks into the middle of the ground. Wanted Wicks. Rhyme took it to the ground. Good spoil. Jackson tries to gather. Picked up out the side by McInerney. Gave it to Rowbottom. Spun away from a tackle. They're able to work it forward here again. This is Roberts towards right half forward. 2-on-2 battle. Clark gathers. Tries to break away from Jordan. Hand passes to Walker. Taken by McInerney. Wrapped him up immediately. That's going to be holding the ball. That's blink of an eye stuff this week.
Is that 4 already?
And with absolutely almost no prior at all, they've decided to really blow on everything. As McInerney goes short and he finds Papley, who's at right half forward.
Papley will send it inside the Swans, attacking 50. The target is a Marty. Couldn't get the mark completed. Roving at the bottom is Wicks. Handball across McDonald. Somehow snaps it over his shoulder out of the pack. Incredible finish from Logan McDonald. Had no time, had no space. Threw the ball on the right boot. And after 10 minutes, the Swans find the opening goal through the boot of Logan McDonald. 1 straight 6 Sydney. Fremantle 2 straight behinds. A 4-point margin, 10.5 played here. Friday night footy on ABC Sport. Mitch Turner, Clint Wheeldon alongside me, our experts, Sharad Wellingham and Cara Antonio.
Well, that's what great teams can do. You've had the majority of the ball in your forward half of the ground. You're dominating field position, and then it gets spun back the other end, and they've created something out of nothing. Sydney, fantastic snap by McDonald. Great goal sense and awareness.
And speed of hand to foot was pretty remarkable, wasn't it?
Very nice. Fremantle must make the most of their opportunities, though, for their inside 50s.
18th goal of the season for Logan McDonald. He's trying to come away. McLean, a knock to the knee. Judd out the side. Heaney's hand pass was intercepted. Young got it, gave it to Sharp for the Dockers. Now to Jackson. Back to Sharp, forward of the wing. Draws an opponent. Hand passes over the top to Emmett. Steps away from Milliken. What a sidestep. Kicks in the direction of Banfield. It might bounce through. Or has it been touched? We're going to send this upstairs. I reckon it got touched on the way through as my initial reaction.
Banfield just signalled touch to the
I think
goal
he
umpire.
might have.
Banfield trying to take the mark. He's got the fingertip on it. Mind you, if he hadn't adjusted the way it was going through for a point anyway. Just wait for the score review check to confirm it. It is a behind. Dockers have got 3 behinds. The Swans have got a goal. 3 points Sydney's lead. 12 gone in the first. Friday night footy on ABC Sport, 7:20 ABC Perth, ABC WA, News Radio and on Sport Digital.
Kick in from Roberts, comes along to the wing for the Swans. Heaney and Young wrestle. Young managed to tap it down to Johnson over the ball. Umpire spots a high tackle. It was Grundy coming in late. Just got Matthew Johnson a little over the shoulder. The confusion as the man on the mark, but Johnson goes into the 50. Tracy had to punch from behind. It spills the way of the Swans. Lloyd gathers. Short handball back to Rampy. Now sends it back where it came. Johnson in front for Fremantle. Can't mark. Jackson trying to gather. He's got Swans all over him. Now Draper has Grundy to contend with. Grundy on hands and knees. The big man managed to shovel it out. Only as far, though, as Nat 5. Gave it to Johnson. Now on to Emmett. Snap is a little shallow. Malikan gathers in his defensive goal square and the bounce goes short and finds a teammate in Errol Goulden.
Just needed more composure there. He had O'Meara at the top of the square. He could have lowered his eyes.
Goulden's kick over the top just finds Florent.
Just so many numbers in one half of the ground. Really, really stacked defensive or offensive.
Florent towards the outer side. Big pack up. It spills down off hands to Fife for the Dockers, to Jackson, to Chapman, whose hand pass was awry. Draper couldn't gather, neither could Grundy. Eventually had a second go to flick it out. Trying to work his way forward again. Fife got crunched. It came to Draper. Clever kick. Worked it out towards Sharp. Hand pass. He wanted Clark to run onto it. The boundary line beat him. It's going to be a throw in between the wing and right half forward for Fremantle. Still quite a hushed crowd here at Perth Stadium. The Swans lead by 3. Still in the first quarter. From the throw-in, it came out the back to Sharp, who got it for the Dockers. Kicked inside forward 50. Tracy went out to try to mark. Couldn't do so. Milliken run down by O'Meara. Ball comes out the side. Umpires say play on. Sarong put himself over the football, taken by Warner. Swans wanted holding the ball. They won't get it. It'll be a ball up inside Freo's forward 50. The Swans 1 straight 6. The Dockers 3 behind. 15 minutes gone in the first.
Jackson and Grundy, both former Demons, will go at it again. Grundy tapped it down to Heaney, gave it to Cunningham. He lost the ball. Now the Dockers back onto it. Fife taken by Heaney in a strong tackle taken to ground. The umpire once again said he had prior. Holding the ball going the way of the Swans. Heaney will take the free kick, will go wide to the wing. Had Jordan on his own. Handball over the top to Wicks. Now the Swans going inside the attack in 50. McDonald got out the back and took the mark. Handball over the top. Will Hayward runs into goal and pops it through. Quick transition offense from the Swans. And they get their second. Will Hayward with the goal. 2 straight 12. The Swans. The Dockers 3 behinds. The Swans lead by 9 points. 15 minutes played. Friday night footy on ABC Sport on 720 ABC Perth, ABC WA, ABC News Radio and Sport Digital.
It's always the danger, isn't it, Carl, when you got all your density in one half of the ground. If it's slingshots out the other way, big chance of getting scored against, and it's exactly what's happened probably both times. Those crucial contests, I mean, the holding the ball on Fife, that contest there, I mean, it was a bit tight, wasn't it? But their ability to go straight away from that just caught Freo off guard.
6 holding the ball decisions so far tonight.
First quarter.
They have absolutely changed how they're interpreting A holding the ball decision, the umpires. Brayshaw tried to bust his way through a pack, lost possession of the football. Came to Young, bounced off his shin. Warner gathered it, might have been taken high, but he breaks away from the O'Meara tackle and kicks the Swans towards left half forward anyway. Holding decision going against Ryan. It'll come back to be taken here by Wicks at left half forward for Sydney. 2 straight, 12-3 behind Sydney lead. This will be their 6th inside 50 with this kick. Wicks will put it towards the top of the goal square. Pearce went up from the side. Umpire spots a free kick. It's going the defensive team's way. Coming back here to be Draper's kick. Up against McLean. And Draper with the cornrows in. Stands just to the right of his defensive goal square. Runs to right full back and then kicks the Dockers to right half back. 2-on-2 battle here. Florent was up against Amos. Got his hands to it. Saw it over the line for a boundary throw-in. Quick update from Geelong. The Power lead by 36 points. 5 gone in the third. 12-6-78 to the Cats. 6-6-42.
So Swans all of a sudden starting to do a bit more of the attacking. Tracy's into the ruck for the Dockers. Tapped it down though, straight to McInerney. Ball bobbling around inside the attacking 50 of the Swans. Brayshaw gets a hack kick out, clearing it. It's tapped into space by Florent. Was trying to tap it to Roberts. It was stolen by Sharp for the Dockers. Was able to release the handball wide to O'Meara. The kick up the wing is a good one. And it finds the chest of Emmett. Looked up and wanted to move it quickly, but the Swans have the outnumber ahead of the ball, so he's forced to go sideways and just gets it into the arms of James Aish. Right on centre wing, far side of the ground. Kick inside the centre square. Oh, Chapman spilt the mark. Had to go back and get it. Gave it to Walker. High ball inside the attacking 50. Voss in front. Can't mark. O'Meara. Crumbs. Shakes the tackle. Throws it on the left boot and he sprays it across the face. It is another minus score for the Dockers. 4 straight behinds. The Swans. 2 straight 12. 18 and a half played.
Wow, they have on at least 2 occasions good opportunities to kick goals and have squandered them. The Dockers as Rampy beyond defensive 50 to the outer wing. Off hands to 5. He's wrapped up. Great tackle. That's holding the ball. Errol Goulden's got him and he'll win the free kick. That's 7.
He's done that twice now where he hasn't handed the ball back, actually. He's just put it on the ground.
That's a 50
That's
metre
50.
penalty.
Should be. Fife has got away with that. The umpire's not spotting it. Swans move it short. Come up towards the wing. McInerney puts it back towards Florent, who goes onto one knee to take the mark. Forward of the centre circles. Stabs a pass inside a forward 50. Walker got a hand to it. Still there to be one for the Swans. It came to Lloyd. Got it to Rowbottom. Tackled by Johnson. Ball's been dislodged. Should have been holding the ball. The umpire says no play on this time. Walker couldn't take it under pressure from Papley. Came to Chapman. Oh, it turned it straight over. He gave it back to Lloyd, who I reckon's kicked the goal. Despite a despairing effort on the line, what are they going to say? Sharp did everything he could to try to get a touch on this. Umpires confer.
Incredible leap from Sharp.
Looks like a goalkeeper's.
All they're
save.
saying are behind. So Sharp's feet were behind the line. That's a goal. Ball has definitely crossed the line. So from the turnover, Lloyd has made the Dockers pay, and they've got 3 straights. 3 straight 18 to the Dockers, 4 behinds. 20 minutes gone in the opening term. Couldn't blame the effort. Trying to get there was Sharp, but even if he'd taken half a step forward, he wouldn't have been able to touch the footy anyhow. It was the turnover that cost them.
Absolutely, Clint. 2 goals now from Sydney. In terms of turnover, their pressure gauge outstanding. I thought they absorbed the pressure really well in the first kind of 5 to 10 minutes and threw it back the other way. Fantastic pressure in their forward half of the ground, resulting in a really nice goal.
Thoughts from former Fremantle AFLW captain and All-Australian Cara Antonio here on ABC Sport.
Should also have said, just for the record, Jake Lloyd's first of the season.
Hey.
Stands on the wing at the moment as the ball gets Back underway in the middle. Gordon just soccers a loose ball off the ground. Inside his attacking 50. Pearce came out to meet it for the Dockers. Handballed it to Aish, continued his run, got it back. Now handballs inside to Brayshaw. Has a man over the top in Switkowski. Has people free ahead of the ball. Jackson receives the handball running past. Had a number of options. Kicked it straight to Blakey. He gave it to Heaney, who slipped over. Now the loose handball. 5 inside attacking 50. Able to find O'Meara. Handballs backwards to Chapman. Now to Sarong. Fremantle working the ball around outside 50. Walker steps around one. Sets sights for home. And he nails it. A little bit of magic from Brandon Walker. And every Docker on the ground runs over to him. On an emotional night for Fremantle, you can see how much that first goal means. Every Docker on the ground celebrating with Brandon Walker. Spent a long time out of the game. Back in recently, and that's his first goal of the season. Fremantle get their first. 1-4-10, the Swans, 3 straight 18.
Some individual brilliance there, wasn't it? I thought they were going to maybe cough that one up with the amount of pressure that Sydney were putting on, but yeah, just the step, ability to compose himself and then drop one from 50 is remarkable, really.
It's always nice when a backliner hits the scoreboard early.
Yep.
They work so hard for their scoring opportunities. Fremantle, you're right, they almost coughed that one up, but really nice long bomb.
Sydney doing a great job of getting numbers back to defend really well. So Fremantle, I think, have just got to get it in there a bit quicker.
They tried that time. Sarong with the clearance, knocked down by Warner. Came back, though, to Jackson, to Sarong again. Kicks towards left half forward, but turns it over. Down the throat of Francis, and then Francis looking to do his best to get a move on again. His hand pass was, well, not what you were hoping for. It's gone out of bounds. You're throwing at left half forward. The 23-minute mark is up on the board. And the Fremantle fans stand to applaud in memory of Cam McCarthy. The Swans, in the meantime, are bringing the ball through the centre. Walker tries to go out after it. Amati gathers, he's tackled, and that will be holding the ball. You can hear the applause as the Dockers move it towards right half back. Again in the 23rd minute, the number worn by Cam McCarthy. Fremantle move it towards Emmett. He was harassed out of it. The Swans with an opportunity to get it to Wicks. And he's able to mark just shy of the logo on the southern wing, coming from McInerney. Heaney thought about calling for it for a moment in the centre circles. Wicks into the left forward pocket. Pack of 4 up at the drop. He's the most recent goal kicker in Walker. Almost run down by Amati. Got a hand pass away to Sarong. To Switkowski, ran straight into Papley. Popped the hand pass out to Walker, to Sarong. Now to 5. Surrounded by Swans. Had nowhere to go. He's wrapped up. Rowbottom's got him holding the ball.
It's the third time for 5.
Rowbottom can send it towards goal if he wants. Or he can find a teammate in the right forward pocket. That's where the kick goes. And punched over the boundary line by Alex Pearce.
9 holding balls in the first quarter. That is a lot. Nat Fyfe been caught 3 times already. So the ball is spun back in. Deep inside, the Swans attacking 50. Shallow throwing. Grundy sharked it. And if not for the late smothering attempt from Jaeger O'Meara, would have probably kicked another goal, but it's off hands, out of bounds for another ball in. Boundary umpire stands about 15 metres around, so he's on the line. Now tosses it back in, another shallow throw. Jackson got to the front, tapped it down to Brayshaw. Ball bobbling around inside the Swans 50. Players diving in. Fremantle managed to get it to Sarong. He retreats to Alex Pearce. Wobbly kick beyond defensive 50. Tracy out to meet it. Couldn't take the mark. It spills to McInerney. He's immediately grabbed by Sam Switkowski. You can hear the Fremantle fans when they think of some of the holding the ball decisions. There was no prior at all there for McInerney, but the Fremantle fans wanted the decision. The ball's restarted again. Rowbottom gave it to a teammate in Wicks. Young ends up with it for Fremantle. Got caught, just throws it away. Jordan gives it to Warner. The umpire wants to bring it back all the way to the original spot of the ball in. Not sure what is happening here. There's a lot of confusion, but after all that, there is a free kick.
High tackle on Hayden from Warner.
So all the way back to Hayden Young. Half the players didn't realise what was happening. It is a free kick to the Dockers, though, and Young chips it inboard to James Aish, wearing the headband as he often does. Kicks it wide of defensive 50. And Mira did well to stand underneath the Roberts pressure and take the mark. So the Dockers find themselves trailing by 8 points early on as the kick goes short to Brayshaw. Has to spin away, kick it up the middle. A dangerous one, but he finds Hayden Young.
Young is tackled by Florent. Dockers fans wanted a 50 because it took a long while to let go of him, Florent. Goes through Walker, then to Draper. Kick in the direction of Sharp, went up through his hands. Rampy had a bit to say too. Just letting him know all about the fact that he wasn't able to take the mark, and it's over the boundary line for a throw-in. 70 out from Fremantle's attacking goal. They're heading to the left of our broadcast position in this, the first turn. That's the Farmer Freeway end of Perth Stadium. Ball's put back into play. Jackson is up. Got a touch on it. And came down towards Heaney. Shoveled the hand pass forward. Bounced back to him. Couldn't take it first time. Swans hurry a kick away through traffic. Sharp's able to meet it. Gathers. Can't get away from Heaney. Just got the hand pass out to Jackson. The big ruck wheels around. Kicks inside forward 50. Amos comes out. Dropped right in front of him. Couldn't take the mark. Ball still there to be won. Switkowski gave it to Amos, dropped it, picked it back up for the Dockers. Now on in turn to Aish, puts it towards full forward. They come from everywhere. No mark taken. Trying to get it was Lloyd. Spilled down again to 5. Switkowski couldn't get enough purchase on the kick. Trying to get it around the body. The Swans, last man back, takes the mark. And they can send it beyond defensive 50.
The kick from McDonald was put in front of Hayward. Aish did well to worry him off the ball. Allowed Pearce to pick it up. Now gives it to Matthew Johnson, the trademark don't argue. Spins himself out of trouble. Retreated to Walker. Through hands to Aish. Kick inside the forward 50. Tracy launched. Couldn't get a hand on it. Went over the back of the pack. Diving in on top of it as a Swans player in Roberts. Fremantle players wanted a holding the ball decision. It wasn't forthcoming.
Where's big Kahuna looks big, crunching packs, doesn't he?
Ball tossed up. Jackson just takes it out of the ruck, breaks a tackle, then has a player fall right in his back. Maybe a little lucky as he tripped over Heaney, fell right on top of him. Luke Jackson will go back. 45-degree angle to the left. Man of the mark stands right on the 40-metre mark.
It's been a hot start. Really hot start to the game. Pressure's been outstanding from both sides, in particular Sydney in this second half of the first term. Fremantle, a number of opportunities, but haven't been able to hit the scoreboard with a lot of majors. This needs to go through.
Playing more in the ruck tonight in the absence of Sean Darcy, has 8 goals for the season. Luke Jackson to give Fremantle back some momentum, leans back on the kick, and it's away to the right. Another minus score. Fremantle, a 1-5-11. The Swans are 3 straight 18. It's a 7-point margin. 29 and a bit minutes played as the seconds tick down in the opening term.
Florent before, last player back in the goal square, and then fascinating when Amos goes forward. He's always happy to stand on his shoulder. And Sydney, with the siren sounding, went down the outer wing. And they'll take a 7-point lead into quarter time, the Swans. 3 straight 18 to Fremantle, 1-5-11. The goal kickers for Sydney, McDonald, Hayward and Lloyd. For Fremantle, Brandon Walker decided he'd do it all himself. He has their only goal. Sydney by 7 points. An update from Cardinia Park. The Power by 29 there. 18 gone in the third. 13-7-85 to the Cats. 8-8-56. Possibly the most interesting stat to come out of that first term here at Perth Stadium, other than the score, is 9 holding the balls called in that quarter. 3 of them against the former captain of the Fremantle Dockers in Nat Fyfe. Plenty more to come wherever you happen to be on 720 ABC Perth, ABC WA, ABC News Radio and Sport Digital. This is Friday Night Footy on ABC Sport.
Time for the family road trip.
98.
The big prawn.
Yes. 99.
The big mosquito. It's a real one.
And 100.
Easy. The big Listen app.
Of course.
The ABC Listen app has a big array of road trip ready podcasts, radio, audiobooks, music and sport. Something for everyone.
I guess it has to be big to fit in all those podcasts.
For a big selection of audio entertainment.
Really, Dad?
Listen big. Download the free ABC Listen app today.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Happily will send it inside the Swans, attacking 50. The target is Amati. Couldn't get the mark completed. Roving at the bottom is Wicks. Handball across McDonald. Somehow snaps it over his shoulder out of the pack. Incredible finish from Logan McDonald. Had no time, had no space. Threw the ball on the right boot. And after 10 minutes, the Swans find the opening goal. Had Jordan on his own. Handball over the top to Wicks. Now the Swans going inside the attacking 50. McDonald got out the back and took the mark. Handball over the top. Will Hayward runs into goal and pops it through. Quick transition offense from the Swans.
Walker couldn't take it under pressure from Papley. Came to Chapman. Oh, he turned it straight over. He gave it back to Lloyd, who I reckon's kicked the goal. Despite a despairing effort on the line, what are they going to say? Sharp did everything he could. So Sharp's feet were behind the line. That's a goal. Lloyd has made the Dockers pay, and they've got 3 straights.
5 inside attacking 50. Able to find O'Meara. Handballs backwards to Chapman. Now to Sarong. Fremantle working the ball around outside 50. Walker steps around one. Sets sights for home. And he nails it. A little bit of magic from Brandon Walker. And every Docker on the ground runs over to him. On an emotional night for Fremantle, you can see how much that first goal means.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Sydney by 7 points over the Fremantle Dockers at quarter time. Let's get the thoughts of our experts, Premiership player Sharad Wellingham and All-Australian Cara Antonio.
Yeah, well, I just think that Sydney kind of got the damn wall up, didn't they? They managed to repel all of Fremantle's forays inside their forward 50. Inside 50s, Fremantle led it 15-11. But Sydney's ability to just slingshot out of their defensive 50 and transition the whole way down was absolutely incredible. So I think what Fremantle need to do, I know it's an easy thing to sit here and say, but they've got to try and get it in there faster. They've got to try and beat the Sydney work rate. They're working super hard. From in the box here, from centre square circle, so from centre circle to the goal square is pretty much where all players are. It's super condensed. They're spread quite wide across the whole ground, but it's super condensed, and so it's making it really hard for Fremantle to have any clear and kind of direct avenue to goal.
Yeah, the pressure's been outstanding from Sydney. They had their opportunities early, Freo, but I feel like they're just over-handballing the ball. They've had 61 handballs in the first quarter.
That's off the back of the pressure.
100%, and handballs invite pressure as well. So they're playing into Sydney's hands. They average 160 for a game, and they've already got 61 for the quarter. So they need to probably kick more than they're handballing, get it in quicker, as you said, and get to the one-on-ones, and then bring the ball to ground, get your smalls involved inside forward 50.
So you got to kind of go, all right, how do we create some isolation, but then still manage to keep pressure on the ball if that contest isn't won. So it's a really big balancing act from Fremantle coaches, because they're going, all right, sweet, we're getting enough hands on the ball, we're not getting it in there clean enough, quick enough. We need to create some isolation so we can have some one-on-one contests, but we can't have too much isolation because then we can't support the contest. It's a really tough one.
Some of the numbers after the first quarter, the team stats, some of those that were mentioned by our 2 experts. The disposal count, 108 Fremantle, 90 Sydney. The contested possessions also Freo's way, 39-33. The tackle count, the Swans with that pressure, 17-16. The hit-outs, 10-2 favouring Sydney, but the clearances, 11-7 favouring the Dockers. The free kick count, we mentioned it a few times, it is 7-6 the way of the Swans, fairly even. The inside 50 count, 15-11 the way of the Dockers. Caleb Sarong leads all comers on the ground with 12 disposals. Jeremy Sharp and Luke Jackson, James Aish, all with 9 as well. For the Swans, Nick Blakey, Isaac Heaney, both with 8. Ollie Florent and Dane Rampy with 7 apiece. It's the Swans by 7 as they head out to the middle and they lead the main stat, and that is 3 straight 18. The Swans 1-5-11 to the Dockers.
0437 774 774. That's a wind-up. Wind up.
Isn't that go
I thought you were saying go longer, go longer.
Wind up.
Yeah, I was looking. I'm done.
Keep going.
No, wind up. That's stop, that's wind up. We were getting there. I was trying to get your text. Sorry if you sent a text in. I'll get to you eventually. Mitch just kept talking. Ball to the outer side. Obviously, Channel 9 and the ABC do different things when it's coming for winding up. As Heaney gets a soccer out of the middle of the ground. In the direction of McLean. He got worked out of that from Ryan. It comes back to Pearce. Steps away from Rowbottom. Gets a kick that bounces beyond defensive 50. Here's an opportunity for McInerney. Goes again. Now it comes to Warner. Warner runs to about 51 out from goal. Launches a terrific kick. And Sydney have got the first of the second term. 34 seconds gone. In the second quarter, the Swans have got 4 straight. 4 straight 24 to Fremantle. 1-5-11. What a start by the visitors.
Oh, it didn't even look like he got, huge amount of penetration on it, but just seemed to keep going. Outside 50. Kind of going the wrong way for a right footer, but just absolutely nailed it. Beautiful kick, wasn't it, Cara?
You can't give that player like that much time and space.
Almost off the outside of the boot, and it's gone 53 metres.
Incredible kick from long range.
That's a thumping goal. Anyway, g'day to Julia and Brian listening in from Croatia. Go the Dockers, they say. Jimbo's in Esperance, hoping the Freo boys can get the job done tonight for Sunshine. Of course, the nickname of Cam McCarthy. As the Swans win it out of the middle, and Grundy throws it on the boot and punches it inside forward 50.
Luke Ryan, as he often does, though, out to meet it for the Dockers. Rebounded to O'Meara, gave it to Aish, who panicked, threw away the handball. Eventually O'Meara is able to regain it. Aish continued running up the ground, takes the bounce, now kicks it inside the forward 50. Amos from the side takes a ripping grab. He seemed out of position the whole way, Jai Amos, but he stretched and he stretched. And he was able to outpoint Francis in the air and take the mark.
No real right to mark that, did he?
No, absolutely not.
Came from absolutely nowhere. Steamrolled in front of... one amongst 3. Absolutely incredible mark.
Wasn't a great kick either to advantage, or it was a 3-on-1. Fantastic win.
There's been a lot made during the week about the treatment of Jai Amos. He has the ball in his hands right now, looking for his first goal of the night. He starts it out left and he keeps it out there for a minus score. So Jai Amos now 12-9 on the season, which is uncharacteristic for him. The score 1-6-12 the Dockers, 4 straight 24 the Swans.
Leaving a few out there, Freo. Sydney bring it towards left half back. They wanted McLean. Jackson got in front, won the mark, gave it to Switkowski, runs the 50 out himself, kicks straight into Blakey. Blakey follows it up, taps it towards the boundary line. Sydney will be happy enough here to have it go out. They are. Goulden was right there. Jackson was bursting towards the 50-metre arc, got boot to ball, cannoned into a Swans opponent. Ball to be put back in, right where the 50-metre arc meets the boundary line. Sydney's lead is 12 points. 3 minutes gone in the second. Jackson against Grundy. Both rucks had a tap. Spilled to Sarong. Kicks around the body from right half forward. Swans come from everywhere. They crash into each other. Came down to Warner, though. Got it out to Blakey. Now to Francis. Kicks beyond defensive 50. Sarong with the intercept mark. And he has it 70 from goal.
Disposal number 17 coming up for Caleb Sarong. Not even 4 minutes played in the second term. He kicks looking for the target of Tracy. He was worked under it by Malikan. The fist came from Francis. Ends up in the hands of Warner. Shakes one tackle. Then a little don't argue, but the handball missed Heaney. Tracy came through and gathered. He was wrapped up by Isaac Heaney. Leading the AFL Coaches Association Award this year, Isaac Heaney. Caleb Sarong sitting behind him in third position. As Warner takes it from the restart, kicks it out to the bounce for McLean. His handball a little hot for Gordon, had to go back and get it, then give it to Florence. Snap around the body, up the wing, looking for Jordan. One-on-one with Clark. Ball beats both of them, bounces up. Ryan taps it back to Fife. Sarong tight on the boundary, shook the tackle, gave the handball, but Hayden Young trying to continue with the run, but it was a high tackle on Caleb Sarong, so it'll come all the way back to the Dockers midfielder. And the leading disposal getter in the AFL will have number 18 now already.
Been remarkable, his performances this year in the All-Australian. Last year, they go across half-back to Pearce, now to Walker at left half-back. Go towards Sharp, who marks and plays down the line under pressure. Great mark from Frederick. Blakey was wearing like a glove. Bounces up and moves it short again to Chapman, who marks on the logo southern wing. Pretty congested in front of him. Sends it towards left half forward. Boss marks and turns. Runs the 51 out from goal. Puts it towards the teeth of goal. Tracy front position off his hands. Spilled to O'Meara. Now a chance. Sarong. Step one, step two. Hand pass away. Brayshaw. 40 out from goal. Kicks towards goal but misses. He was pretty much in line with the left-hand goalpost too. Couldn't find the major opening. It's been almost the story of the night for the Dockers. 1-7-13 they are. The Swans are 4 straight. The complete reverse. 24. 6 gone in the second.
Blakey able to find Florent from the kick-in. Inboard now to Goulden. The Swans managed to get it to the paint of their defensive 50 relatively easy. Goulden's kick, as often, was a good one up the wing to Heaney. We're in the bright green boots tonight. The Swans in their traditional red and white Guernseys. Kick up the wing, just manages to get over the head of Tracy and find Warner. Plays on, runs through the middle of the ground, kicks it to Brayshaw, who cops heavy late contact from McInerney. Umpire said it was fine, paid the mark. Brayshaw played on to Johnson, his handball to Clark, puts him under pressure, has to retreat to Sharp. Corralled by Rowbottom. Now a kick up the wing for the Dockers. Johnson continued his run. The kick couldn't get there. The Swans chop it off. Malakin gives it to Cunningham, who kicks it up the wing, and it's intercepted by Chapman for Fremantle.
So Chapman, a couple of metres in from the boundary at left half back, stabs the pass low to Johnson, who marks. A little bit shy of centre wing. Brings it into the middle of the ground. Another dangerous kick, but getting their first ace against McDonald. He moves it on by foot to O'Meara. Running by is Ryan from the logo. Goes looking for Young, but getting in front, Warner. They've occasionally bitten off a bit more they can chew, the Dockers. Warner for the Swans. Gives it to Blakey. Bends off Brayshaw. Turns and gets a hand pass away. No Swan could take it. It's wrapped up there by Tracy, and then he's taken the ground in a strong tackle. No Pryor, ball up, right half forward for the Dockers. Up into the air it goes. Jackson palms it down. Sarong onto it immediately. He's wrapped up by 2 Swans, Grundy and Rowbottom. Another ball up, right where we were just seconds before. Sydney, 4 straight, 24. The Dockers 1-7-13, 8 gone in the second.
Jackson's tap was good. It was a little hot, though, for Johnson. Rowbottom able to gather for the Swans. Good mark. Up the wing, just between the centre square and the logo by Amati. He's kicked wide, though. He doesn't get to Goulden. O'Meara could have marked instead. Punches it 20 metres in the direction of the Swans attacking 50. Papley on hands and knees. Gave it to Adams. His handball back to Jordan. Now Goulden sends it inside attacking 50. Pearce in a one-on-one with McDonald. Pearce had front position on hands and knees. Able to gather. Handball to Luke Ryan. The Dockers win out in defence again. The kick up the wings looking for Tracy. He's got a couple of Swans to deal with. Rampy did well. Able to knock it down to Lloyd. Now Roberts. The kick it back inside 50 for the Swans. Floating from the side. Haywood couldn't mark. Was dragged to ground. Umpire said play on. Ryan looping handball to Brayshaw for the Dockers. Oh, the handball to Frederick, though, missed it. Brayshaw had to go back and gather, and his kick into the middle of the ground will be coming back as it falls in the arms of Roberts.
So Roberts just stands on the commentary edge of the centre circles and stabs it short to Lloyd. His first goal of the season earlier tonight for Sydney.
I kind of can't tell if it's a really intense game or it's a really off game.
It's a bit of both. Kicks inside forward 50. Amati! He's up to take the grab inside forward 50. He'll be able to go back and have a shot from in line with the left hand behind post. He'll put boot to ball from about 40 outs.
That's the second really good mark by Amati in the last couple of minutes. The one that was the release up on centre wing. Absolutely crucial. and a beautiful forward 50 mark. But it's got that weird kind of vibe at the moment where it's like the intensity is quite high, but there's also a lot of mistakes, and it's not. I'm not quite sure if either team's really settled.
Amati looking for Sydney's 5th straight goal. He's putting it through for another. It hugged the inside of the right-hand goalposts, but it didn't miss. They're 5 straight, Sydney. Fremantle are 1-7. 5 straight, 30 to 1-7-13. 10 gone in the second term. Friday night footy on ABC Sport on 720 ABC Perth, ABC WA, News Radio and Sport Digital. Sharad, can it be a little bit from column A and a little bit from column B?
I think it certainly is.
I think it is. And just then, Fremantle forwards getting sucked up relatively high. There was no real integrity or structure ahead of the ball. So the Sydney backs were licking their lips, and it was an easy rebound for them, straight inside 50, but a fantastic grab from Amati, and even nicer finish. 5 straight to Sydney.
Last time these two sides played here, it was Lance Franklin leading the attack for the Swans with 3 goals that night in a Swans victory. This time the Dockers win the ball out of the middle. Jackson kicks towards Banfield. Cunningham able to get a hand in there, knock it down. Lloyd shares it with Adams, and now back to Malikan. Short kick to the wing, finds Goulden. 5 straight 30 the Swans. The Dockers 1-7-13. It's Goulden. Short chip up the wing, finds James Jordan. Right on the logo, broadcast side of the ground. Now plays on. Runs around, kicks it inside the attacking 50, looking for Amati again. Pearce worked him under it. 5 comes crashing through, takes bodies with him. Couldn't take possession though. Wicks was in there. Now Young for the Dockers. He crashes through. He's taken an Amati tackle. It'll be a ball up just inside the Swans attacking 50. 11.5 minutes played here in the second term. Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
Sent off by the umpire. Grundy got his hand to it. Spilled down. Knocked forward by Sydney. Coming out to get it Pearce. He's tackled to ground. Lost it. Ball in dispute. Came to McDonald. Threw it on the boot. Knocked towards the top of the attacking goal square. Spilled out from Haywood. Couldn't quite gather it. The Dockers can emerge with it. Emmett, not a great hand pass. Brayshaw did well, gathered, spun out of trouble, got it to Young. Kick towards Tracy. Can't quite mark it right half forward. He was up against Milliken, could gather again though, set it in the direction of Amos. He couldn't mark. Milliken going back, was there to support for the Swans, picked it up and gave it to Blakey. Bursts up the middle, spears a pass towards the centre circles. Heaney gets it eventually with Adams involved. Heaney into the right forward pocket, unable to mark, then was Jordan. He'll have another go at it. Got a hand pass back again. The Swans through McDonald. Send it towards goal. It's going to miss the lot out of bounds on the full, which I reckon is pretty much what Jared was saying.
Missed opportunity going inside forward 50, wasn't it?
Voss was streaming on the fat side. Voss. Yeah.
Josh Tracy just decided not to go. I saw you both shaking your head at the back of the box. Had an open goal or an open player, Josh Tracy, and unselfishly went to his teammate.
It's been a long time since Fremantle have been too key forward focused, so not a bad thing potentially.
Fremantle do manage this time to work it to the wing, and Fife takes a strong grab. Just the 6 touches so far. This will be disposal number 7. His short kick's a horrible one into the centre square. Fell towards Adams for the Swans. They have it back, Sydney. Goulden, short kick to Haywood. Has numbers streaming forward in red. Decides to wait. No one manning the mark. Fife asking the umpire, where is the mark? Now Haywood finally decides to pull the trigger. Kicks it long towards the top of the goal square. McDonald at the back almost took the mark. No! Free kick has been paid. And I believe it'll go the way of Amati. Justin Longer in the box cannot believe it. Hands to his head.
Oh, that is not a free kick whatsoever.
Front on contact, have they called?
He's launched himself at the contest, eyes only on the ball.
I have no idea how the umpire spotted it.
He hasn't spotted anything.
It was against Pearce, I think. He had his back towards the ball.
Amati with the free kick and the finish. He has 2. The Swans have 6 straight. They are 6 straight 30. The Dockers are 1-7-13. It is a 23-point margin the way of the Swans. They are stunning the Dockers here. 14 minutes played second quarter. Sharad Wellingham, Kari Antonio, the replay of the free kick. It's probably there.
Yeah, in the letter of the law, it's there. He probably added a little bit of mayo to it and flung himself back. He didn't have, the thing is, Amani didn't have his arms up to even attempt to take the mark.
Yeah, I thought it was against Draper, and I was like, oh, no chance. Pearce kind of...
Well, officially it's for pushing the back against Pearce on Amadi.
Yeah, well, it's not a push in the back.
No, it is not.
It couldn't be. He ran the other way.
If anything, it's
It's front-on contact.
Correct.
I 100% agree with everything you've said. Champion Data will have to look at that during the week, I think, and fix that up.
See, this is where Fremantle are just taking too long.
They've got the free kick here. Sarong does take a while to get up and eventually gets a kick inside forward 50. Voss was out to it, well spoiled by the Sydney Swans. Came out to the side. Switkowski to Emmett. He's tackled. Got slung. Just got a hand pass away. No. It's going to be a free kick going the way of Sydney. It'll take a while to make that call, the umpires, but there's another holding the ball.
And they're the ones where the play continues and it's these 360 swings that we saw Michael Walters get slammed into the ground. A lot of these tackles is what they're looking like.
Swans work it across their back line. Will come now to Melican. Will chip it short to McInerney, who's met solidly by Clark and then pushes him back afterwards for the contact. Play on's the call. McInerney's going to be tackled here by Clark. He spins out of trouble, then drops the football. Clark will hold it into him. This will be holding the ball. So after all the push and shove, Clark ends up the winner of that confrontation, and then he turns it over. Kicking towards centre-half forward, which straight to Goulden. He couldn't believe his luck. Moves it on to McDonald. Now it comes again to McInerney. He'll head towards Warner at the top of the goal square. He's at the back. He marks, plays on, and he kicks his seconds. Sydney like that. And there's been a bit said off the ball. More players look to go in and have their say across half forward. Sarong with a bit of push and shove here. So Clark had won himself the free kick and then another turnover, this time across half back, and Sydney went straight up the ground and converted. And that's what they've done and what the Dockers have not. They're 7 straight 42, Sydney. Fremantle 1-7-13. 17 gone in the second.
It's one of those really deflating moments. I think Clark had some miscommunication and got a bit dirty with one of his teammates on the turnover. McInerney gets out the back and then absolutely gave it to Clark after the goal went through from Warner.
Which probably wasn't the right decision either, like trying to bite off a little bit more than he could chew there, Jordan Clark, and then that's, as good teams do, rebound, slingshot, goal.
The Swans have been clinical. They are making the Dockers pay. As Fremantle win it out of the middle again. Through hands, they get it to Sharp on the far side of the ground. Kick it up towards half forward, flying through and punching it was Francis. In the path of Adzoka, who couldn't take possession in Sarong. Ends up back with the Sarong, though. Handballs to Fife, flying towards goal. He pulls it to the left. 1 goal, 8. Fremantle 14. The Swans, the opposite end of the spectrum, 7 straight 42. It's a 28-point margin, 17.5 played.
A lot of text pouring in, 0437 774 774. We'll get to you, I promise, at half-time as the Swans, beyond defensive 50, go to left half back, and Pearce has been given a free kick. The Dockers captain, he looks to play on by hand to Johnson at right half forward. Steps around Blakey, hand passes to Fife. Fife runs to 50 and then tries to find a teammate. He can't. Umpire says play on. The Swans, the kick from Lloyd smothered, comes to Amos. Amos kicks into row bottom. It ricochets up into the air and crashes into the fence in the left forward pocket. Worth noting that the Dockers, they're 1-8, but they've had one more scoring shot. There's only one rush behind in that total of 14 than the Sydney Swans have, and yet Sydney is 7 straight 42 to 1-8-14. Ball back into play. Jackson palmed it down. Swans get a clearing kick away. They thump it beyond defensive 50. McDonald couldn't gather. Amati onto it. Gathers and hand passes back into the middle of the ground. Here's a great chance. Jordan goes back by hand. They share it around on centre wing. It comes through Lloyd. Then to Jordan again towards left half forward. And then over the boundary line for a throw-in. Warner battling away against Ryan. It's about 52 out from the Swans attacking goal. 19 gone in the second. 7 straight 42. That's Sydney to 1-8-14. That's Fremantle.
Ball spun back in just outside the Swans attacking 50. Jackson worked his way to the front for Fremantle. Got it down to Brayshaw. Handball's a little hot for Johnson. Had to take it on the ricochet. Did well to break the tackle. Eventually it's back with Brayshaw. Now Jackson out to Sarong. Disposal 22. Kicks it up the wing. Amos outworked by Malikan. The Swan, though, couldn't take the mark. Ball spills down. Blakey gathers. Short hand pass to Florent. And then a horrible kick over the head of Heaney. Luckily, bounces just before the line out for touch. It'll be a ball in.
That was so bad that Heaney thought it was somebody else.
So the ball will be spun back in right below us in the broadcast position, just in front of the Sydney Swans bench. They lead by 28 points here in the second quarter. This time McLean in the ruck for the Swans. Got to the front, but it was stolen by Fife. And Johnson, tackled by Heaney, dispossessed. Heaney on ground level, just taps it back to Florent. The Swans have it. Lloyd, standing start from the logo. Kicks it inside, attacking 50. McDonald flew. So too Ryan for the Dockers. It spills away of Jordan. He dribbles it towards goal. Hayward just has to gather. Snaps it around the post. Bends it through. Hayward has his second. The Swans have 8. They are yet to miss. We are 21 minutes into the second quarter. The Swans are 8 straight 48. The Dockers are 1-8-14. The margin is out to 34 points. Mitch Turner here, Clint Wilden alongside me for ABC Sport, our experts, Sharon Wellingham and Cara Antonio.
It's just a turnover goal again because Fremantle winning that first hands at the clearance. This efficiency going inside forward 50 is getting a little bit out of control. Will Hayward working really hard forward.
They run hard, don't they?
They certainly do.
They run really hard. That's the 6th goal from turnover. I mean, it started at the stoppage, but you're right. Fremantle first hands on it, and then
not quite on the same page with the in-tight hands and the in close. I almost feel like they need to steer away from it. First hands on the boot, get it away from the inner circle.
It's getting ugly. Very ugly on the scoreboard. Still, Fremantle with one more scoring shot, if you can believe that. 48 plays 14. Now the non-controlling umpire on the outer edge of the centre square has spotted a free kick. It'll go Freo's way here. It'll come back to Young. He'll have it in the centre circles.
Holding the man against Goulden there.
So Young, he's going to get run down. He ran straight into McLean. Didn't see him holding the ball. Freo are falling apart. Goulden picked it up, set it inside forward 50. Walker brings it to the ground against Papley. It's going to be a push against the Swan, and Walker will have the free kick, and they've dodged another goal then, the Dockers, as Walker moves it short. Sarong, who continues to rack up the disposals, that's 23 for him, out towards Ryan, who's at right half back. 23 minutes gone in this second term as Ryan goes short to Johnson. Sydney's lead is 34 points. Johnson for the Dockers in the direction of Aish. He marks. Commentary edge of the centre square. Hands it back to Sarong. He's able to move it forward to Fife. Plays on by hand to Young. He does get a kick away this time. Goes looking for Jackson, but chopping it off. And a good mark and well read to Blakey. And he'll send it to Cunningham as the Swans will set up again from left half back.
They're just not making the right choice. That was one that they needed to give the forward handball to get the overlap run, whereas they decided to kick it then. So it's just that lack of connection from Fremantle.
Swans, a series of short kicks, ends up back in the hands of Jake Lloyd all the way up in front of the Dockers interchange bench. Swans looking a little more composed than the home side tonight as Lloyd plays on, kicks it up towards Grundy. Pierce ball from behind, came down to Papley in the pack, did well to get a handball to Rowbottom, kicks it towards McDonald inside the forward 50, 2-on-1 against him. The Dockers win out. Walker gathers, gives it to O'Meara, had a fumble, was able to regather and give it off to Walker. The Dockers now running up the far side. Banfield kick back towards the corridor to Fife, takes the mark. Now the ball movement just slows down a touch. Fife's kick out wide looking for a mark. Draper was strong under pressure. Took the mark, played on. Has a player over the top in Banfield. takes the handball, runs inside, kicks towards Emmett. The kick a little hot, couldn't take the mark. Run down from behind was Lloyd, but the Swans managed to get it beyond defensive 50. And McLean, horrible handball out wide, set Rampier task, but the Swans have the numbers. And Florent, as casual as you like, just loops the handball over the top to Rampier, looped over the top to Wicks, has to do a little more work, eventually chips it inboard to Blakey. Very casual, the Swans. They moved it out there under very little pressure from the Dockers.
Power by 24 points. 10 gone in the last at the Cattery. Geelong staring down the barrel of the second straight loss. Sydney still with it in the left half-back position. Chance to build up again through Florent. He'll move it short to Jordan. James Jordan, first time at Perth Stadium as a Swan. Looks towards left half forward. Pack of about 6 underneath it. Off hands. Comes down to the Swans again. Getting it Wicks. Gave it to McInerney. Kick into the middle of the ground. It's going to be a push in the way of Heaney against Fife. Heaney will take the kick. Moves it short again to Adams. The former Magpie. Puts it inside forward 50. All on his own as McLean. No one was there to even attempt to spoil, and he marks 25 metres out from goal in line with the right hand behind post.
Well, they had numbers back Fremantle, but the players were guarding space and grass, and absolutely no body contact at all to McLean. He had a free run at it, a lovely stab pass by Adams, but need to be more aware, need to swivel the head, Fremantle.
It's his 9th game of the season. He's looking for his 9th goal of the year. From 25 metres out, Sydney cannot miss. 9 straight 54. The Dockers are 1-8-14. 26 gone in the second. Here on ABC Sport, this is Friday Night Footy on 720 ABC Perth, ABC WA, ABC News Radio throughout New South Wales. A big g'day to our Swans fans listening in and on Sport Digital. Clint Wilden alongside Mitch Turner, our experts Sharad Wellingham and Cara Antonio.
So what's the record for most goals without a behind?
I just started having a bit of a look, so I'll see if I can find it.
Can't be too many more. It's a remarkable feat at the moment.
What's more telling is Fremantle have gone more than a quarter without a goal. They're last at the 22-minute mark of the first.
And the Swans win it out of the middle again this time. Warner's kick out towards Jordan. Came off hands, rolls all the way inside. The Swans attacking 50. Ryan under pressure from Adams. Happy to step out professionally. It'll be tossed back in. Inside the Swans attacking 50 again. They lead by 40 points. Sydney, they have been clinical tonight. They are punishing the Dockers. Ball spun back in. Grundy and Jackson go at it. Neither got a clear tap. Grundy followed it up, though. Gave it to Jordan. He was met solidly. Now Rowbottom flies in for the Swans. He's also taken the ground. Going to be a ball up. 45 metres out. 10 metres in from the boundary. Left half forward for the Swans. Grundy. Jackson. They wrestle again. Ball gets tapped forward by Rowbottom. O'Meara took it for the Dockers. Gave it to Aish. Now Sarong. Handball inside to Young. Runs his distance and kicks it up the wing. Amos v. Rampier goes over the head of both, and Francis takes intercept mark. A short inside the wing to Florent. His kick back towards the corridor again to Lloyd. Just has to back up for the moment. The Sydney Swans defender goes short. Finds Tom Papley. Former All-Australian, 2021. Kicks it wide out all the way back to Francis, just beyond left half back.
This is the 9th time a team has kicked 9 straight goals. From what I can see on the records, we've not had a situation where a team in the AFL has kicked 10 straight goals. So maybe a bit of a chance for a record here tonight. For the Swans, Grundy. Grundy sends it inside forward 50. Amadi, a massive fly, couldn't mark. Warner's able to gather, threw it on the boot as the siren sounded.
No score.
It is.
Everyone was cheering for no score, and it is no score. Didn't quite get boot to ball. So perhaps that record could still be broken. Sydney are 9 straight 54. The Dockers are 1-8-14. There's only one rushed behind in that as well. So Fremantle have spurned some chances. They look in all sorts of trouble, the Dockers. And Sydney are showing why they are top of the ladder. 9 straight to 1-8. For the Swans, Warner's got 2, Hayward's got 2, Amati's got 2, singles to Lloyd and to McDonald, while for Freo, who were goalless in that quarter, in fact, just added 3 behinds. Their 1 goal coming at the 22-minute mark of the first term off the boot of Brandon Walker. It's all Sydney. They're up by 40 points at halftime here in the West. Before we hear from our experts, quick score check from the game at the Cattery. The Power were leading by 17 points. They still are. 16 gone in the final term. 15-9, 99 Port Adelaide to the Cats. Geelong at 12-10, 82. 16 gone in the last. Cara Antonio, former All-Australian and Fremantle AFLW captain. Sharad Willingham, premiership player with Collingwood. What have you made of what's been a very odd game of football?
It has been odd, hasn't it? I felt like Sydney's pressure really made Fremantle second-guess themselves, didn't it? And they kind of didn't have the ability to make any clean, precise decisions, and taking that away from Fremantle just made them look flustered and disjointed, really not on the same page. It looked like overuse by handball, but it wasn't them trying to do that. It was just them off the back of Sydney putting pressure. Got to get rid of it so I don't get done holding the ball, but that, like you said, invites more pressure. So it's a catch-22. I reckon they've just got to get the ball on the boot, get it away from that tight contested inner circle that Sydney are putting them in, and then hopefully big Vossi and Cyclone Tracy can create some havoc forward of the ball.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I have found
what have you got?
A few numbers. There are a couple of occasions where there's been a more accurate half. Adelaide in 2021 kicked against Hawthorn at York Park, of all places, kicked 14 straight to half-time and finished with 16-3 and lost by 3 points.
So 14 straight.
What? 14 straight to half-time. They kicked 2 goals, 3 in the second half, and they lost to Hawthorn by 3. They got overrun in the second half. So it doesn't mean everything. If you're a Fremantle fan, maybe you can take solace in that it doesn't mean everything.
They got overrun.
The thing that's going to do Freo at the moment is their inability to take a mark forward of the play. I think, they're just not getting any contest.
Still in
isolation.
It's been an interesting game, as you've said. I feel Sydney well and truly on top, obviously, on the scoreboard, but it just looks easier for Sydney. When ball's in their area, when ball's in hand, they hunt in numbers. You can tell they're all on the one page. Their pressure's been outstanding. I mean, they've scored the 7 goals from turnover, 2 from stoppage, and we know from previous weeks this has been Fremantle's go, especially at stoppage. And Fremantle, unfortunately, have only been able to score the 4 points. They've just wasted opportunities, isn't it?
Oh, look, I haven't really looked at the stats, but look at the bottom 5 of Fremantle.
Yeah.
All forwards.
All forwards. So the thing is, though, I think in the first, 5-10 minutes, they burn a lot of tickets, attacking and coming out. They had pressure, they had presence, they were throwing their bodies around, but they didn't add to the scoreboard. So there was all for really nothing. No return for all that effort.
Still got it inside 50 26 times.
They did, but it wasn't, again, silly skill errors like we spoke about it at quarter time, over handballing, and then in the second quarter they opted to kick obviously more, but there was forward handballs on that would create the overlap run to provide a bit of a cleaner entry inside forward 50. And from Sydney, they're just slingshot footy. Great pressure. They're running in numbers. Their work rate's outstanding. I mean, they're not on the top of the table for nothing.
No reason, yeah.
You can tell that tonight and they're more patient and clean with ball in hand. And it's been, more effective going inside forward 50. I mean, you can't get too more effective than that. 9 goals straight. They've been clean. And well and truly, pressure is on Fremantle. I mean, 1 goal 8, you're not going to win games of footy when you can't hit the scoreboard for majors, which is no doubt what JL is addressing at halftime.
They're just recognising turnover quicker as well, and reacting, I suppose, a little bit quicker. They've got faith that when the ball goes inside their defensive 50, they're going to turn it over, or they're going to have a contest that they can afford to have. Not guys cheat. I hate it when I hate it when people say that, but they're making an educated decision to create space offensively. It's going to have to come from decision making when they do get the ball in their hands, because they're not struggling to get their hands on the ball. No. Sarong's had it 25 times, Brayshaw's had it 15 times, Jackson's had it 14 times. They're getting their hand on the ball. They're getting clearances. Clearances are 16-17 in favour of Fremantle. So being, I suppose, more... I think they really need to isolate their forward line and say, look, Tracy, Amos, we need you to win contests. We saw the one where I think it may have been Francis peeled off Voss and intercepted late. That kind of thing is just fueling the turnover. The Sydney mids are recognising that and taking off sideways and then creating options. That's why they're able to be quite patient with it, because they're making it big so quickly. They're making the ground really big and wide. And that's why you said, once they get it into a marking position, they just go, all right, what am I going to choose from? They're not having to wait for something. They're trying to, pick whichever one's best, not even really having to create. Also, offensively, I think that I've noticed what Fremantle are doing. They're really trying to bring it in through the corridor, but they're planting themselves there. They're not getting there on the move and not being super mobile and dynamic through the middle. It's really kind of just planting themselves and saying, here, kick it to me.
And there's no overlap run.
No. So, I think they need to try and get that overlap run via a switch, bring in Clark and Ryan, who haven't really had much impact. Ryan's had it a few times, Clark's had it 5 times. So bringing those guys into the game who I think can be, and Chapman, these guys who can be offensive backmen.
I think to Sydney's credit, though, the half forwards are not allowing, I suppose, Fremantle to have that run off half back. They know they've obviously again done their scout throughout the week, but it's been a real eye opener, definitely, no doubt, for Fremantle, that they need to readdress at half time, because they need to hit the scoreboard with some majors to even stay involved in this game. Otherwise, it could blow out quite significantly.
0437 774 774. If you want to send us a text, Lee from Glenorchy in Tasmania said he thought Collingwood 12 straight against Port was the most consecutive goals. Now, Mitch said 14. I've had a bit more of a chance to have a dig, which is hard to do while you're calling, I'll admit. But that game that Mitch mentioned, 2021 at York Park, round 6, it was actually 15 unanswered goals. So they kicked 14 goals to half-time. Adelaide, the most accurate half of football ever that we've got recorded. They actually kicked the next of the third quarter as well. And still lost to Hawthorn. Mind you, Hawthorn had kicked 9 goals to half-time, so they were in the mix, unlike Fremantle at the moment. If you can go beyond 15, please let us know. 0437 774 774. We always know out there our audience have more stats than we do. Clark,
it looks a bit unfair out there at the moment in the middle of the ground. The Fremantle, I wouldn't say Oz kickers, but juniors having a run around.
Against
about twice the size of the young West Coast players.
There's a number 4 out there that looks almost the same size as Sean Darcy does.
And there's a number 14 that looks about half the size of Liam, or a quarter of the size of Liam Duggan.
Oh, yeah. He's tiny, that 14 in the Eagles colours. Clark of Clarkson in WA, fantastic call. Does Fife hold the record of the most turnovers since those records were kept? I'm not sure that's quite fair on Nat Fife, but he has been caught at least 3 times tonight holding the ball. It's been a little bit tough, it's got to be said. Hi, ABC Grandstand team, ABC Sport team now, Doctor in the TARDIS. How much of a delay would happen if play has to stop due to the weather tonight? There's thunderstorms about in Narrogin. Well, that would depend on how long the storms are around for. There is the opportunity to delay the game at an AFL level for an hour if umpires have to stop play because they're concerned about lightning. This is from Tim from Mandurah, who asked a couple of really good questions. Hello, team. Great call as always. Freo, when they dominate general play, can't seem to hit the scoreboard, which keeps the opposition in the game. And it seems to happen a lot lately. Why is it? How can they get more bang for their buck and put more scoreboard pressure on? Cara?
I think, to be honest, we mentioned it, it's skill execution and making the right decision at the right time. But again, I think, to Sydney's credit, they built the pressure up early and now that perceived pressure is building. And the Fremantle players are second-guessing their decision and then the skills aren't matching what they, I suppose, are wanting to achieve ahead of the ball. So, yeah, it's a great call, but I think it's kudos to Sydney's pressure that's adding that element to the doubt in Fremantle's mind.
A couple of listeners from all parts of the world. Hi, guys, listening to another great call while in southern Italy. Great stuff. That's from Ralph. And Mary's in Athens.
Wow.
Says, go Dockers.
Go the Dockers.
Go the Dockers. They need a bit of help, Mary, at the moment. They're in genuine strife against the Swans. Where are the Sydney supporters? It seems up 9 straight 54 to Fremantle's 1-8-14. And again, just another quick score check before we take the latest from the newsroom. Geelong right back into this contest. They must have been watching Carlton and Melbourne last night. Port getting away to a thumping lead. The Cats are right back in it. 26 gone in the last. Port lead by just 7 points. 15-11, 101 to Geelong, 14-10, 94. 27 minutes now gone there. We'll have that full-time score for you when we return in just a moment, wherever you're listening on Friday Night Footy on ABC Sport, 7:20 ABC Perth, ABC WA on News Radio and on Sport Digital, and as always, on the ABC Listen app. This is Friday Night Footy, and let's take the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
ABC News. Good evening, I'm Simon Lauder. An emergency services official in Western Australia says Bunbury residents are still assessing the amount of property damage a tornado has caused. According to reports, 40 roofs have been impacted and some have been lifted off buildings. The tornado was reported around 4 p.m. in South Bunbury. DFS Southwest Superintendent Andy Wright says the local community is still in shock.
The surprise of it all is probably what people are dealing with, and then of course there'll be taking stock of the type of damage that they've got to their properties and what the long-term effects of that are going to be. So, this is obviously an emotional time for the whole community.
A retail worker at a shopping centre in Perth South has described the chaos moments after an altercation which left one person with a knife injury. Police have confirmed 3 males were involved in the incident at Carousel Shopping Centre in Cannington around 3:30 this afternoon. A 20-year-old man received an injury to his face. Opal Coote, who's a store manager at the centre, says she was serving a customer when she heard screams.
Kids are running around screaming sort of thing, but it just sounded more than normal, and I had a peek outside the store and there was more security around it than normal, and then all of a sudden everyone just started running. It wasn't just the people who were involved, it was like normal customers and parents.
Officers are still searching for 2 males and say there's no ongoing threat to the public. The federal government says it will continue to pursue deportation powers, prompted in part by an Iranian man's High Court challenge, even though his case has been dismissed. Among other changes, the proposed laws would compel people to cooperate with their deportation process or risk between 1 and 5 years in jail. But just before Easter, the Coalition and Greens stopped it from being rushed through the Senate. Immigration Minister Andrew Giles says the bill closes a loophole.
We'll be putting this bill forward. It closes a really necessary gap in our migration system. It puts in place what the High Court has really talked about today, an obligation on an individual who has no right to remain in this country to cooperate with their removal.
There are suggestions Network 10 and Lisa Wilkinson may not actually see any of the costs awarded following Bruce Lehrmann's failed defamation case. Justice Michael Lee has awarded indemnity costs to Ms Wilkinson and Network 10 after upholding their substantial truth defence, finding that on the balance of probability, Mr Lehrmann did rape Brittany Higgins at Parliament in 2019. A final decision on costs will be made in a fortnight, but consultant at defamation law firm Bennett Dr. Michael Douglas says the total figure is likely to be huge.
Well, it still needs to be assessed by a person appointed by the court, but it's been estimated it's going to be in the many millions of dollars. So unless he's got some assets that the public aren't aware of, that I'm not aware of, a normal person would go bankrupt from the size we're looking at. It'll be over $5 million, I presume.
Mr Lehrmann's criminal trial in the ACT Supreme Court was abandoned due to juror misconduct, with no findings against him. Overseas, Israeli tanks have captured the main road that divides the eastern and western halves of Rafah in southern Gaza, effectively encircling the entire eastern side of the city. Residents say they can hear almost constant explosions and gunfire at the city's east and northeast as intense fighting is underway between Israeli forces, Hamas and the Islamic Jihad group. UNICEF, the UN Children's Fund, says more than 100,000 of the 1 million Palestinians sheltering in Rafah have fled in recent days. Police in Sri Lanka say at least 8 of the country's former soldiers have died during Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The BBC's Anbarasan Etarajan reports.
Police say at least 60 Sri Lankans are believed to be fighting for Russia, while 23 are on the Ukrainian side. Officials said many of the war veterans were duped by human traffickers who promised jobs for high salaries but were later coerced to become mercenaries. One Sri Lankan man who fought for the Russian army told a television channel that he was initially recruited to provide support services but ended up in the front line. Reports say the number of Sri Lankan casualties in the conflict could be much higher.
Chad's President-elect Mohamed Deby is promising to be a leader for all citizens, not just those who voted for him. Election officials have announced that General Deby, who's the country's current military ruler, has won Chad's presidential election with 61% of the vote. Mr Deby was installed as the country's leader by the military after his father was killed during a battle with rebel forces in 2021. ABC News.
It's the most magical time of the year, right? Footy season! This season you can get your footy live and ad-free on the ABC Listen app. Unbelievable! AFL, NRL, men's, women's. Whatever you fix, we've got you covered. Every goal, try, mark and tackle, called by ABC Sports' expert commentary team.
A wonderful goal! Game, set, bingo!
100% pure footy, live and ad-free on the ABC Listen app.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Steps away from Rowbottom, gets a kick that bounces beyond defensive 50. Here's an opportunity for McInerney, goes again. Now it comes to Warner. Warner runs to about 51 out from goal. Launches a terrific kick. And Sydney have got the first of the second serve. 34 seconds gone. Kicks inside forward 50. Amati! He's up to take the grab inside forward 50. He'll be able to go back and have a shot in line with the left hand behind post. He'll put boots a ball from about 40 outs. Amati looking for Sydney's 5th straight goal. He's putting it through for another. It hugged the inside of the right hand goalposts, but it didn't miss. They're 5 straight, Sydney.
Now Hayward finally decides to pull the trigger. Kicks it long towards the top of the goal square. McDonald at the back almost took the mark. No! Free kick has been paid. I believe it'll go the way of Amati. Justin Longer in the box cannot believe it. Amati with the free kick and the finish. He has 2. The Swans have 6 straight.
Kicking towards centre-half forward, which straight to Goulden. He couldn't believe his luck. Moves it on to McDonald. Now it comes again to McInerney. He'll head towards Warner at the top of the goal square. He's at the back. He marks, plays on, and he kicks his second. It's an inside forward 50, all on his own as McLean. No one was there to even attempt to spoil, and he marks 25 metres out from goal in line with the right hand behind posts. 9th game of the season. He's looking for his 9th goal of the year from 25 metres out. Sydney cannot miss. 9 straight.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
and on the ABC Listen app.
Back underway for the second half here at Perth Stadium. The Swans lead by 40 points. Back underway in the middle. Goulden tackled by Brayshaw. Called holding the ball. Brayshaw has its teammate out wide in Jeremy Sharp. Runs to 55. Kicks towards goal. And surprise, surprise, a minus score for Fremantle. They are 1-9-15. The Swans, if you're just joining us, 9 straight, 54. The margin now back to 39 points. The Swans, clinical. Mitch Turner here on ABC Sport. Clint Wheeldon alongside me.
Ugly for Fremantle. Can they find a way back? They might need a bit of help, and they'll get some then from McInerney. From the right back pocket, he's put it out of bounds on the full. Josh Tracy will be able to send that ball, hopefully for Fremantle, deep inside their forward 50. Clark presented an opportunity across half forward. That's ignored. Tracy will put it inside the attacking 50. They come from everywhere. Amos goes to ground. Francis gathers. He's tackled the ground. Umpire will ball it up. No prior that time. They were red hot on holding the ball in the first quarter. It certainly wasn't one. Good call from the umpires. Grundy punted down straight to Young. Dropped it under pressure from Heaney. Fife put his head over the top of the football. Couldn't pick it up. Johnson can. No, stolen away by Young. Pinched it off his teammate. Centering kick goes back into the corridor. No mark taken. Attacking the football was Adams. Got it out to Goulden for the Swans. And they can clear. Going towards McDonald, who marks it left half back.
A long way from home, Logan McDonald, in terms of the goal square. Back home in terms of playing in Western Australia. Former Perth Demon has just the 1 goal so far to his name. Goes back inside defence to Blakey. Played on. Ran himself out of trouble. Kicks up the wing looking for McLean. Couldn't mark. Draper knocks it away from him. Now Ryan in there for Fremantle. McLean follows up. Knocks him out of bounds. It'll be a throw in far side of the ground here. Perth Stadium. It's the Swans by 39 points. Sitting on top of the AFL ladder looking to stay there this round as the ball's spun back in. Jackson over the top. Tapped it down to 5 for the Dockers. Gave it to Young, then Sarong. Back to Jackson. Fremantle playing around with a handball inside. Now they've lost the ball. Heaney retreats a little. Handballs to Cunningham. Kick up the wing looking for McLean. Got edged under it. Couldn't take the mark. The umpire said it was a legal contact. The Swans take advantage. Papley, sidestep around Aish. Snap around the body from 40's beautiful. The Swans, no matter where they are, no matter how difficult, they just cannot miss. 10 straight 60 the Swans, 1-9-15 the Dockers. It is a 45-point Sydney lead as Tom Papley gets his first.
Super efficient. Yeah, I mean, it was only a slight nudge, but Fremantle just went straight to, expecting the ball to go back. Sydney kept playing. You've got to stay live.
Started at the stoppage though, again over handballing it, over possessing it. Again, it invites pressure. Sydney are known for their pressure. They're outstanding, have been tonight. Turnover, goal.
And one closer towards 16 straight, which we now think would be the new record. Bounce of the football. Slapped away by Grundy, only as far as Rowbottom. Got it back to Grundy. Kicks the Swans inside forward 50. Diving out. That's a terrific mark. He was at full stretch then, Haywood. Got away from Ryan. And another chance on a 45-degree angle to the right from 49 metres out to kick another major. Did some more work at half-time, Mitch. That game you mentioned where Adelaide kicked 14 straight. They actually kicked the first goal of the third term making it 15 straight.
Oh, my word.
Before they kick to behind. That's the best we've got at the moment. Let us know if you know more. 0437 774 774. Scramble for your history books. Here's Hayward from right on 50. We're behind the kick. He's blotted the copybook.
He's ruined it.
And the record goes begging. Well, not quite. They were a bit away from it. 10-1. That's right. 10-1. 61. The first behind of the Swans. 1-9-15 the Dockers. 5 gone in the third.
It's poor from Sydney. Can't go missing those shots as Fremantle bring the ball back in the play. Tongue-in-cheek, of course. Young. Handballs forward to Voss. Fremantle are out this time. Frederick has space inside forward 50. Has Tracy over the top on his own in the pocket. Takes the mark. And Fremantle managed to go end-to-end, and Tracy will go back. Tight angle to the right, will kick from about 35.
I think Fremantle just needed to get a kick in.
100%. And they were dangerous. They went to a dangerous spot in the corridor, took a risk, and then the wave of numbers. Real clean.
100% in terms of transition from kick-ins tonight, Fremantle. Their first one, the Swans, just the minor score. Josh Tracy has the ball in his hands. Having a breakout season is Josh Tracy. And he leaves it narrow to the right.
That must have been very close because it looked good.
Fremantle 1-10-16. The Swans 10-1-61. A bit of numerology. Scores reversed as the Swans have the ball and bring it back in play to the wing.
They go towards left half back. Fine mark out there as well. Hayward, he's been very busy. Moves it forward again. Chance to build up from Sydney. McInerney, short once more to Hayward, back to McInerney, and stabs the pass out towards Warner, who just stepped around Johnson like he wasn't there, and surrounded by Dockers, can find Rowbottom with a lovely foot pass. Still in the centre square, Rowbottom measures the kick to Florent, marks about a metre away from the attacking edge of that centre square. He'll put it on the right boot and send it towards full forward. Jackson came out, got a hand to it, couldn't mark. Grundy underneath it, wrapped up by Pearce. They both go to ground. Ball up, says the umpire. Right in front of the left-hand goal post, about 25 metres out from Sydney's goal. Spun up into the air. Grundy won it down to Johnson, though. Hand pass back into traffic. McLean got onto it for the Swans. Waiting for it was Goulden. Banfield was able to knock it away. Comes to Clark. Has to backtrack. Hand passes right back to Chapman. They're under pressure. Sarong, clever, was calm against Hayward and found Ryan in some space in the right back pocket. That's a long clearing kick to Switkowski, who marks it right half back.
Switkowski forced to hold up. Sam Wicks is behind. He's down behind play. He's just getting himself to his feet. He ran into Alex Pearce, so maybe one to keep an eye out for. He was very sore with the trainer. Alex Pearce collected him behind the ball. Shakes him off now as Sharp has it on the wing. Kicks short. Finds Brayshaw.
Just a real lack of movement from up here. We can only see a couple of Fremantle players moving.
Brayshaw forced to play on. Steps around Cunningham on the mark. Now kicks it towards right half forward. Blakey floating across. Takes a strong intercept mark. After all the slow play there, the Swans win it back. Blakey's kick up the wing, though, intercepted by Luke Ryan, and he's forced to backtrack again because the Swans have all the numbers inside Freo's attacking 50. Young gets it short from Ryan, then kicks it just outside centre half forward to Brandon Walker. Now switches it towards the broadcast side. Clark has it on the point of the centre square. Kicking a half from home, sees a lead, tries to get it to Voss, and it was telegraphed and Goulden chopped it off. Takes the intercept mark. The Swans have the ball back. Merrill Goulden goes wide to Florent. Goulden up to 17 touches now. Florent, this will be his 18th, the third most for the Swans. Blakey leads the way with 22. Kick up the wing, Pearce floating across to the Dockers. Takes the mark. So they intercept, will go forward again, kicks it up towards the logo. Brayshaw plays on quickly, gives it to Chapman. Short kick to Banfield. Running past is Emmett. Kicks it long towards the attacking goal square, Tracy.
kick favoured the Freo forward, and he was able to get his hands out in front of Melican and take the mark. And he'll go back. He missed one a moment ago, but this is slightly better angle, slightly closer in. Only a slight angle to the right should make the most of this.
Just some pace on the ball, Fremantle, and it's paid off both times, hasn't it? Need to convert here after the last one.
1-10 the Dockers have kicked. Josh Tracy to kick Fremantle's first goal since the opening quarter. He delivers. So Fremantle finally managed to peg one back, but it only draws the margin back to 39 points. They are 2-10-22, the Dockers. The Swans are 10-1-61, 39-point margin. 10 minutes played, third term here at Perth Stadium. Our experts on ABC Sport, former AFLW captain of the Dockers, Cara Antonio, premiership player, Sharad Wellingham.
Just more pace on the ball, as you said, speed on the ball. A couple of nice handball receives. Wasn't a great kick inside forward 50. Tracy was caught behind. Bit of a lack of connection there, but he worked his way to the front in a really, really nice, strong mark. He's been impressive this season, Tracy. His best yet, I reckon, for the Dockers.
The Dockers kick back-to-back goals. Tracy's in the middle, does the ruck work, got it down to 5. Umpires spotted a free kick. It's the not-controlling one who called it first. It's coming back here to Heaney. As soon as he gathers it, goes on a short run and then dumps it deep inside forward 50. Amati wanted it. Good late spoil came from Pearce. Got there right when the pressure was on. Out towards Walker, hard up against the boundary. Got a hand pass away. Scooped on by Jordan. Gave it to Amati. Great smother from Fife. Adams was getting the kick away. Fife smothered it off his bootstraps. And then Chapman went in to lock it in. Ball up in the right forward pocket. Put aloft. Grundy palms it down at the back. Couldn't take it cleanly a second time. Heaney ran straight into Clark. Umpire says we'll ball it up again. Still in the right forward pocket for Sydney. Spun up into the air. Grundy slapped it down, then so do Adams. It came to Sharp, now to Johnson. Swept a hand pass away for the Dockers to Young. Deep in the left back pocket, kicks beyond defensive 50, attacking the football. Francis couldn't mark, allows Amos to turn and gather. Sweeping hand pass inboard, stretching for it. Frederick couldn't quite get there. Blakey tries to mop it up. It ricochets around back to Frederick, to Amos from left half forward. He's able to hit Banfield in the left forward pocket. Players streaming forward. Banfield tries to play on. He'll kick across the face of goal. Sharp should mark and does on his chest. Not sure it's a much better angle. In fact, it's probably worse. But Sharp can have a shot if he wants. From about a metre in from the boundary in the right forward pocket, he'll put boots a ball from 35 out.
Kind of see what Banfield was trying to do then, but definitely not in a better position.
He wasn't the initial intended target, that was the problem.
Well, he's the left footer in the left forward pocket. Put it across the face of goal, and Jeremy Sharp. He comes in, the right footer in the right forward pocket, misses. So,
to the right.
Minor score. There's been a few of those. 2-11-23 the Dockers, 10-1-61 the Swans, 13 gone in the third.
Swans bring the ball back in the play through Rampy. Kick up to the wing. McDonald did well. Got himself in front of Ryan. Took the mark, then handballed to the run of McInerney. Kick inside the forward 50. Heaney v5. Heaney gets out the back. Takes the mark. Plays on. Got caught. Gave the handball off to Hayward, who snaps truly for goal number 3. Well, the offers, they say, are coming for Will Hayward, but for the moment, he is a Swan, and he's got 3 goals. They answer back Sydney. They are 11-1-67. Fremantle are 2-11-23. The margin is 44 points. 13 and a half minutes played in the third term here. Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
Well, that was just absolute gut running from Isaac Heaney. He started probably backward of the centre circle and just went pedal to the metal. And that Fife couldn't quite stay with him as he comes off for a rest, because that was honestly, 120-metre sprint.
To miss out by about 3 inches on the fist. It's a tough game sometimes.
A really big one-on-one by McDonald though on the wing as well
massive.
against Ryan.
From the restart, Both rucks had a touch. It came down in the direction of Brayshaw. Bounced off his shins. Has to go back to gather. Tackled immediately by McInerney. Warner put his head over the football. As he rises, he's met by Sarong one way and Brayshaw the other. Umpire says we'll ball it up. Throw it up into the air. Grundy got a tap. As we welcome our listeners joining us from around the nation to Perth Stadium, it's lopsided on the scoreboard. Sydney 11-1-67 to the Dockers 2-11-23. That's right. 11-1 plays 2-11. At one stage, the Swans had kicked 10 straight before Hayward missed to block the copybook. 14 minutes gone in the third term. Clint Wilden alongside Mitch Turner in commentary as the Dockers get themselves a free kick to Jackson in the left back pocket. We're joined by Sharad Wellingham, the AFL Premiership player, and Cara Antonio, former captain with the Dockers AFLW side and an All-Australian as well. As Aish goes beyond defensive 50 now and goes looking for O'Meara. It's been spoiled by the Swans over the boundary line for a throw-in. We'll head downstairs to a cash photo dar in just a moment. Sydney led by 7 points at quarter time and they stormed away to lead by 40 at the break. Their advantage is now 44 points. Ball's put back into play again. Grundy's up in front of Jackson. Palmed it down straight to O'Meara, though, to Brayshaw. Hand pass to Fife. Fife gets a kick away, but it's down the throat of Cunningham, who marks. Sydney's multiple goal kickers. Hayward's got 3. Warner's got a couple. So too Amati. The Dockers just with 2 goal kickers for the entire team. Hayward and Warner sweeping it forward to Goulden. He was tackled and lost it. O'Meara worked it away to Sarong. Plays it through the middle of the ground to Emmett. Just got a hand pass out through the corridor. Comes to Switkowski. Goes looking in the direction of Voss, who marks. Deep in the right forward pocket. Diving forward to take the grab. Downstairs quickly, a cash photo dar.
Since half-time, the wind has really picked up down here. It's very blustery now, which is making things difficult for the players.
Looked like it was blustery all night for Fremantle.
Bit of chaos ball in the middle. Turnover. Great kick to advantage as well, but a nice diving mark by young Voss.
Voss in his second AFL game has 2 behinds so far tonight. Gets right underneath this. And he's missed. He thought he kicked it.
He certainly did.
Different. He was up and about, leaping into the air.
Good celebration for a point.
It was.
A big celebration.
He was convinced. Goal umpire, no. 2-12-24 the Dockers. 11-1-67 the Swans. 17 gone in the third.
Gave the almighty fist bump, Patrick Voss, and I think a teammate had to run over and tell him, mate, it's a behind, set up.
I'll tell you what, from the angle we were on, looked pretty good.
It looked like a goal off the boot. You see a replay, Sharad, as the ball's getting tossed back in on right in front of the interchange gates. Jackson taps it down to Fife, was able to palm it off to Sarong. His handball was wayward. O'Meara, though, back onto it for the Dockers. Gives the handball to Clark from the wing. Kicks it inside the forward 50. Tracking back Cunningham. Couldn't take the mark of the Swans. And he was tackled. Ends up in the hands of Francis. Now Roberts. His handball turned over. O'Meara knocks it to Sarong. Chip inside the forward 50 for the Dockers. And Frederick found a bit of space and takes the mark. He'll go back and have a shot for his first major of the game and to pull the margin once again with inside 40 points.
Great composure by Sarong there, just waited for something to open up. I was worried that he was going to use his hands because he is very hands-first kind of player, but got into a position to find someone by foot. Great decision.
29 disposals for Caleb Sarong. He was able to find Michael Frederick. Normally a pretty good kick of the football. Strikes it from 40. The goal umpire shuffles across and the ball slams into the right upright. A minor score again for Fremantle. They are 2-13-25. You are just joining us, that's correct. 2-13-25. The Swans, 11-1-67.
Banfield wins the ball down as the Swans try to clear defensive 50. It came to Frederick, stepped away from Lloyd, kicks back inside forward 50. Voss diving out, couldn't mark. Switkowski harassed by Adams. Rampy looked to soccer it away, went back to Frederick at right half forward. To Sarong, to Young was taken high and he'll get the free kick. He's got it at right half forward. 2-12 to 11-1. Young into the right forward pocket. Oh, Fife has got in the way of Tracy. Tracy was coming out to the football. Fife was going towards the boundary in the right forward pocket. Tracy had a chest mark. Fife stuck out the arm. It ricocheted away. It's over for a boundary throw-in, which pretty much encapsulates Freo's game so far.
Well, it encapsulates their forward 50 at the moment, doesn't it?
Jackson has palmed it down. It went straight to Florent of the Swans. Clearing kick beyond defensive 50. Pearce marks for the Dockers at right half forward.
Retreats into the centre circle to Ryan. Deepest player on the ground. Kicks it towards Tracy. Got pushed under it, leading to the ball. Spilled down to Young. Flying shot on goals. Away to the left. Misses everything. Out of bounds on the full of Cash Bodidar downstairs on the boundary.
Lewis Melican has gone down into the Sydney rooms with the doctor. He jogged off, so he didn't look in too much distress, but he's in the rooms at the moment.
One to watch for the Swans there. Some tonight is Robbie Fox, yet to be activated. As Goulden has it in the right back pocket for Sydney. Kicks up towards the wing. 2 1-on-1s form. McLean got a hand on it. Spilled out the back to Clark for the Dockers. And Amadi dives back in. A free kick spotted. Clark was held a little too long. Gets the free kick right on the logo of the wing. So Fremantle, his first instinct is to go backwards. Now decides he'll go forward. Kicks it inside the attacking 50. Tracy works his man under it. Couldn't take the mark. Now goes back in. Coughs it up. Goulden's tackled. Now Emmett in there for the Dockers. He's dispossessed. Sarong diving in. Rowbottom was clean for the Swans. Got it to Goulden. They work it back towards Blake. He just sends a tumbling ball beyond defensive 50. Aish couldn't take the mark for Fremantle. Was able to get a hand out to Jackson. Now Walker, 55 from home. Checks the kick. Spots Nat 5. 55 out. 45-degree angle. I hate to say it, but on a night where the Dockers' inaccuracy has been the theme, Nat 5 isn't always the most accurate of kicks. Nat 5 strikes it from 50. It's out on the full to the right. The Sydney cheer squad cheers loudly from behind. The Dockers miss again. Nat 5's woes continue.
Caught holding the ball 3 times in the first quarter, Nat 5. Fremantle, by the way, they've scored 2-13. Sometimes that's not quite fair, but there's only been 1 rush behind. They have left plenty out there, the Dockers. They've had more marks inside forward 50 as well, 9-6.
3 out on the full as well.
The Swans have got it across half back now. Blakey sends it back inside defensive 50 to Francis in his first game of the year, the former Bomber. Now towards right half back to Cunningham. Happy to soak up a little bit of time. Was it short? Able to find Goulden. It is, of course, an emotional night for Fremantle. The news breaking this morning about the death of their former player, Cam McCarthy. Plenty of these players in purple did spend time with him. As the Swans to Jordan, moves it towards right half forward to McLean, who marks 51 from goal and puts it into the right forward pocket. Great lead coming out, Papley. Was able to protect the football. It was, as it was delivered, low, flat and hard into his chest. Gave Walker no chance to spoil.
It's been quiet tonight, Papley. I mean, he scored the 1 goal. He's had 6 touches, but I think
he hasn't been his usual buzzing self, has he?
Walker's played him well tonight. Nullified him. But again, if he hits a scoreboard here.
3 times the leading goal kicker for Sydney. Boots cross the 50. They cross the boundary line. Kicks across the face. It's missing through for a minor score. Sydney now with 2 behinds. 11-2-68. The Dockers with 2 goals. 2-13-25. 23 gone in the third. This is Friday Night Footy on ABC Sport.
Ryan brings the ball back into play. Went pretty straight up the corridor. His kick was good to Banfield. His kick further afield to Frederick was a tight one, but Freo forward makes it work. Has the ball on centre wing. Banfield continued his run, but he ran between the man on the mark and Frederick to get the handball. Had to give it back, said the umpire, but Frederick eventually goes short anyway. Banfield's kick further infield back towards the centre wing logo finds Aish. The Dockers been a little slower at times with their ball movement in this second half. Aisha's kick inside the forward 50 goes over the head of all comers, falls out the back to Cunningham, was able to get it to McInerney. His kick
up the wing was a floater. It bounced and cleared everybody. Sharp's the first onto it for the Dockers. He's run down by Warner. Did he have time?
Oh, that was holding the ball in the first quarter.
The umpire said no. Sharad Wellingham said it was hot in the first quarter. They gave away 9 holding the balls in the first quarter. That one, though, he gets away with it, Jeremy Sharp.
Normality resumes. Grundy palmed it down. Heaney was able to work it out to Rowbottom. Strong in the tackle, got a hand pass away to Goulden. Wobbles a kick that bounces towards right half forward. Heaney slapped it in the direction of Wicks. Kicks into the right forward pocket. Papley turns. Walker flew. Papley soccers off the ground. It's across the face. Hayward will try to get there first against Johnston. Spills out though again, and then kicking out of bounds on the full. Matt Roberts. Not what he was hoping, and indeed with Sydney's form tonight, you wouldn't have been surprised if it had sailed through for a goal, but it's out of bounds on the full. Fremantle, they've got the free kick at right full back. 25 minutes gone in the third. They trail by 43 points.
Johnson's kick up the wing. Jackson flew from behind, took the pack with him, but couldn't take the ball. Florent onto it for Sydney, kicks it inside the attacking 50. Pearce spoils it down. Walker trying to gather. Papley overran it. Hands and knees. Wicks got it out to Amati. Then to Heaney. Slipped over. Swans just bobbling the ball towards their goal face. Can't get a clean possession eventually. The Dockers win it out. It ends up with Banfield. Has nothing to kick to up the field. He kicks it for touch. The umpire says...
In the back.
He was pushed in the back.
Lucky.
It was
very lucky.
Insufficient intent as you'll ever see, because he had nothing on Bailey Banfield, but he was pushed in the back by Goulden, and he gets a slight reprieve. He had nothing but space and about 3 or 4 Swans to kick to, and he just dribbled one out of bounds.
Very, very lucky there. You take those ones every day, though.
So the ball all the way back at left half back for Banfield. Kick up the wing. Ball beat everyone and almost fell in the hands of Amos at the back. He had to handball backwards to Brayshaw and then to Sharp. Back again to Banfield, running in the wrong direction. Backward of the wing. Now kicks a high up and under. Francis flew against 3 Dockers from behind. Was beautifully worked by him with the fist. Got it to Cunningham. And then Chad Warner has a bit of a fumble, just loses it, and it goes out of bounds for a throw in. The Swans lead by 43 points, 26.5 played in the third term here at Perth Stadium. Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
Sydney 11-2, Fremantle 2-13. Put back into play again. Jackson with the more telling tap, but it was straight to Heaney. Great smother from Sarong at full stretch. Trying to slap it behind him, Robot. A bit of soccer skills from Heaney. Looked to play it forward. McInerney is able to go back again to Warner. Still just forward of centre wing. Now to Goulden. Gets a kick that bounced in front of Heaney. He couldn't gather. Interesting from Brayshaw. Tried not to take possession with Heaney about to tackle him. Ball came out the side. Sarong taken high, surely. Umpire says play on. Came towards Aish, then to Young. Got a kick away that's marked on the siren of 3/4 time by Blakey. On the logo on the commentary wing. 3/4 time, and Sydney have got themselves a 43-point lead with a quarter to come. The Swans 11-68. Fremantle 2-13-25. The goal kickers for Sydney, 3 to Hayward, 2 to Amati, 2 to Warner. Singles to McLean, to McDonald, to Papley and to Lloyd. While for the Fremantle Dockers, their goals to Walker and to Tracy. Lopsided game. Sydney dominating on the scoreboard by 43 points. Just repeating the game earlier, it was siren to siren with Port Adelaide in front. But it was a close finish as Geelong stormed home. Port hanging on to win in the end. I'll be delighted about that. Port Adelaide getting home by 6 points. 15-11-101 to 14-11-95. A win by 6 points to Port over the Cats at Cardinia Park. 1 quarter to come wherever you're listening on ABC Radio, ABC News Radio and Sport Digital. It's the Swans by 43 points. This is Friday Night Footy on ABC Sport.
Sport and Spice brings you the big picture conversations and plenty of fun every week.
So you were peeing in a cup with Messi?
Yeah, basically I saw Messi's pee.
It's like I call it the race for $1 million.
After the competition, I probably ate like 500 nuggets at least.
I had to like kind of secretly play football and then go off to my basketball game with like a bit of dirt on my knees.
Hosted by me, Declan Byrne and Lavender Bai, listen to Sport and Spice on the ABC Listen app or find it in the Best of ABC Sport folder wherever you get your podcasts.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Handballs to Cunningham, kick up the wing looking for McLean, got edged under it, couldn't say the mark, the umpire said it was a legal contact. The Swans take advantage, Hapley sidestep around 8, snap around the body from 40's beautiful. The Swans, no matter where they are, no matter how difficult, they just cannot miss. 10 straight 60, the Swans.
Here's Hayward from right on 50. We're behind the kick. He's blotted the copybook.
He's ruined it.
And the record goes begging.
Kicks it up towards the logo. Brayshaw plays on quickly, gives it to Chapman. Shaw kick to Banfield. Running past is Emmett. Kicks it long towards the attacking goal square Tracy. Kick favoured the Freo forward. And he was able to get his hands out in front of Melican and take the mark. And he'll go back. He missed one a moment ago, but this is slightly better angle, slightly closer in. 1-10 the Dockers have kicked. Josh Tracy to kick Fremantle's first goal since the opening quarter. He delivers. So Fremantle finally managed to peg one back. Kick inside the forward 50. Heaney V5. Heaney gets out the back, takes the mark, plays on, got caught, gave the handball off to Hayward, who snaps truly for goal number 3.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Spectacular light show at Perth Stadium. The Dockers, though, for the home side have been anything but spectacular as the lights flash and everyone reaches for their mobile phone. Try and raise a bit of money for the Purple Hands Foundation, which is Fremantle's charitable arm that delivers programs tackling key social issues impacting youth. They need some help on the field. The Dockers are 2-13-25, Sydney 11-68. It's a 43-point lead to the Swans. Our experts Cara Antonio and Sharad Wellingham on ABC Sport.
Well, looking at the stats for that third quarter, Fremantle again had the opportunities. They had the 13 inside 50s to the 9 to Sydney. They scored 1 goal 5 to Sydney's 2 goals 2. A couple out in the fulls as well for Fremantle. And that's 7 marks inside forward 50. So I think a lot of it is to do internally, and they're kicking themselves out of the game. They should be well and truly in this game. However, down the other end of the field, their opposition in the Swans are making the most of their opportunities, as we can tell on the scoreboard, 11 goals 2, and making them pay. So that's the difference, really, hasn't it been, Shaz, for the game so far?
Yeah, absolutely. I think efficiency that Sydney have displayed, it's been pretty clinical. I think Fremantle are going to absolutely rue the missed opportunities, because although I feel like Fremantle have fueled the fire almost in, like I've been saying, the pressure that they're inviting by overusing their hands. They fueled the fire, and as we can see, Walters starting the fourth quarter on the ground, so the substitutes obviously been made as well there. But just need to get it in there quickly and make the most of them.
Cash Vodadar with us downstairs. Cash.
Yeah, as Sharad said, Michael Walters subbed into the game there at three-quarter time. We're just trying to work out who is making their way to the back of the bench for Fremantle. And yeah, it's still hard to see from here. It's all a bit blocked up, but I'll have an update as soon as I can on who's been subbed out for Michael Walters.
No sub yet for Sydney. Robbie Fox retains the vest. Just seen Michael Frederick has had the red on his name on the champion data computer. So Frederick, the player that has been subbed out. 43 points, the lead to the Sydney Swans. Poor bounce to get things started. They'll play on though. Jackson got it down to Sarong. Gets it back. Jackson Receiving the hand pass and then kicking immediately inside forward 50. They fly from everywhere. Blakey with the punch from the side. Spilled there for Grundy for Sydney. Centre half back. Swept it out to right half back and found Heaney. And he can move it forward. This is Jordan. Jordan stabbing the pass again to Hayward. Ryan stands on the mark between centre wing southern side and right half forward for Sydney. He'll move it short to McInerney. Uncontested mark again, right up against the boundary. Sydney just controlling the football at the moment. George in Melville says, enjoying the call, guys. Come on the Dockers. They need all the support they can get at the moment, George, as the kick's inside forward 50 and Alex Pearce responds. Attacking the football, he takes the mark. The Dockers captain in the left back pocket and moves it to Ryan, standing right where the 50's painted on the ground at left half back for Freo.
So Ryan has the ball, as Clint Wilden says. Wants to kick a dangerous ball up the wing. Jackson had front position. Blakey did well to get a hand, so it fell the way of Francis. His kick inside the attacking 50. Amati can't mark. Spills to Papley, high up and under towards goal. Clark tracks it back and takes the uncontested chest mark for Freo on the last line of defence. Goes short to Brandon Walker. Has the ball. 15 out from his own goal. Kicks wide, looking for O'Meara. Had the mismatch. Amati for the Swans that favoured him. And O'Meara chopped the arms, gave away the free kick. So Amati will send the ball back inside the attacking 50. Offhands Jordan at the back of the pack. Couldn't quite sneak the ball in past Luke Ryan. And it's a minus score again this time for the Swans. They are 11-3-69. The Dockers are 2-13-25, 44-point margin. 2 minutes played in the final term here at Perth Stadium.
Here's Ryan, thumping kick beyond defensive 50. Through the hands of Grundy, though. Trying to scoop this up. Rampy does so eventually, and it stabs the pass into the chest of McDonald. It's a beautiful delivery. McDonald at left half forward. And the Perth Football Club takes a couple of steps inboard, and then will put it towards full forward. Again, Jackson flew front position that time. Amati thought he was providing space for Hayward to go. Neither of them went. Jackson did. Marked and moves it out into the left back pocket. Sharp marks. Goes short with the yellow Sherrin and finds Young. Still in the left back pocket. He'll bring it back to the corridor. Chapman waits. He marks. Plays on immediately. They'll have to get going quickly, Freo. That's not great. Towards centre wing. McDonald tried to punch it down. It spilled, though, out towards O'Meara. Now here's Walters' early involvement. Hand pass back to O'Meara. He runs the 51 out. Measures the kick. Switkowski marking 25 from goal in the right forward pocket for Fremantle.
They almost stuffed that up on the wing here. They had a 1v3. Luckily, ball bounced their way. Just a nice kind of chain of handballs there, all on the same page, and some really nice composure and patience from O'Meara going inside forward 50.
It was 1v3 and McDonald got to it.
He did.
He'd spilled off his hand to the Dockers. Switkowski starts his approach. We're right behind the kick, and he's missed. There's a Bronx cheer around Perth Stadium, because for the 14th time tonight, there's been a behind registered on the scoreboard, and 13 of them have been off Fremantle boots. 2-14-26 to 11-3-69, 4 gone in the last.
Blakey brings the ball back in, finds McDonald. Fremantle's most inaccurate game ever, and the stats take track of times you've kicked, had 15 or more scoring shots as McDonald has marched down the field with a 50-metre penalty. So 15 more scoring shots. Fremantle, their worst is 219 against the Eagles 5 years ago. They're on track to match that tonight as the kick goes to Grundy and he chips it back again towards Jake Lloyd on the wing. Two-time best and fairest winner at the Swans. Kicks it inside the forward 50. Grundy got worked into it. Walker taken without the ball for the Dockers, and he will win the free kick. A little overzealous from the Swans on that occasion. He chips it back to Luke Ryan, takes the mark, still deep in defence, goes further wide in the defensive 50 to Jeremy Sharp, who then goes back to Luke Ryan. Now he kicks it further in a straighter direction to Heath Chapman. They're still inside their 50. Chapman handballs it back to Ryan, now out wide
beyond defensive 50 to Brandon Walker. His kick up the wing, too hot for Sam Switkowski. Lloyd intercepts, gives it short to Adams. Now Grundy runs away from Alex Pearce, shows a clean set of heels and delivers to an open James Jordan standing all by himself in the Swans attacking 50, and he'll go back to kick the Swans 12th.
I don't know what Walker was thinking. The decision to go through the corridor to, I think,
1v4?
Almost looked like a 4v, yeah, even 5 maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they've probably been told to take it on, but you got to still take the obvious option when it's there.
James Jordan, his first time here in Perth as a Swan. He pulls the kick away to the left. A minus score, 11-4-70 the Swans, 2-14-26 Fremantle. A cash voted downstairs.
Sydney have now made their sub as well. Robbie Fox is on and onto the ground, and just waiting to see who's making their way to the back of the bench for Sydney.
Ball kicking in front of goal might be contagious. Ryan goes back to the top of the goal square to Sarong, who has continued to be busy. His disposal 31 for him to Young. On defensive 50, Chapman just breaks the McInerney tackle. Got a hand pass away to Young, whose kick is into the side of Roberts. Didn't know much about it. Ricocheted away. Brayshaw with it now. Gets boot to ball, but his kick forward intercepted by Cunningham. Emmett provide pressure. The ball bounced away, though, to Heaney for the Swans. They move it through Rowbottom. Hand pass to Florent. Chance again for Lloyd. Looking to move it out to the commentary wing, and on the logo, Papley marks. Just pauses and finds another option in Haywood. Leading goal kicker tonight, he's got 3 for Sydney. Steers the ball back again towards the logo. It came to Lloyd, who put it out towards left half forward. Now Goulden, who's 55 out from goal, 2 or 3 metres in from the boundary. He's at left half forward. He'll go towards left full forward. Stretching Ryan, got a touch on it. Spill down though to McDonald. The snap is across the face. It's missed the lots. McDonald hand passing it out, and Papley, eyes lit up for a moment. Hasn't been, as you heard from Cara, his usual bubbly, effervescent self tonight. Won't even trouble the scorers though. It's out of bounds on the full. The cash photodar's downstairs.
Dane Rampy is the player subbed out for Sydney, and it is a tactical sub. And just confirming earlier, Michael Frederick subbed out for Fremantle. That was also tactical.
Kick to the wing. Swans win possession back. Kick towards half forward. Wicks takes the mark. Wanted to kick it inside to Hayward. Opted to go longer instead. McDonald floating across. Can't take the mark. Then soccers it off the ground and puts it into the right post. Oh, it was like a free kick trying to bend it back off the ground. Logan McDonald is trying to bring a bit of round ball game to the Sharon, and unfortunately it's a minus score. 11-5-71 the Swans, 12-14-26 the Dockers.
Clark with a thumping kick towards the corridor. Florent took the mark, and then the player has gone into the protected area, and Florent will be brought 50 metres inside the forward 50, and he can have another shot at goal. I think it was against Hayden Young.
Yeah, not sure what he was thinking. Josh Tracy was clearly on the mark, and he came in to stand in between, shaking his head. There was a clear free kick there.
He's going to have a chat to the umpire, but all seems personable enough, just asking the question.
He seemed a little bit disgruntled a few times tonight, Hayden Young, hasn't he?
Yep.
So here's Oliver Florent, looking to add his name to the list of Swans goals kickers from 35 metres out. Florent goes in, kicks the major. Sydney have got their 12. It's officially a shellacking as they move past the 50-point mark in regards to the margin. Sydney by 51. 12-5-77. Fremantle 2-14-26. The Dockers have been shambolic at times tonight. 10 to go. 10 gone in the final term.
Not too sure what he's arguing about or asking for clarification with the umpire.
Freo fans have seen enough too. They're starting to head to the exits.
It's been a tough day for Fremantle as a football club, and it's become a tough night for them. Looking to test themselves against the competition standard. The Swans, though, will finish tonight a game clear on top after Geelong were downed by the Power by 6 points. Ball back into play in the middle. Umpire spots a free kick. It's going the way of Sydney. Isaac Heaney is the recipient. Now wants to move it quickly inside the attacking 50. McLean almost took the mark. Roved well by Wicks. Handball out in front of McDonald. Gives it back to Wicks. All alone in the goal square is Hayward. He bangs through number 4. Will Hayward, back-to-back weeks with 4 goals. He's showing the competition just why he's becoming a hot property at the end of this year. The Swans have 13. 13-5-83. Fremantle 2-14-26. It is a shellacking. It is a rout. It's becoming an annihilation. 11 minutes played in the final term. Sharad Wellingham, Cara Antonio.
Oh, it was a beautiful crom by Wicks, wasn't it? Just an absolute textbook positioning and hitting the pack at the right pace. I'm not even sure. Has Hayward been forward the whole game? Because he hasn't had a huge amount of ball, but he's managed to have 5 shots on goal for a 4-1 return. It's a great game.
The restart. Tracy went up against Grundy and won it down to Johnson. Now Young. It's a hand pass away to Fife and receives it back. Steps away from an opponent. Sweeps the hand pass out to Sharp. He takes the step. Goes inside 50. Kicks a goal. The Freo fans who have stayed get to celebrate their third. 45-degree angle to the left from 48 metres out. Jeremy Sharp gives Fremantle supporters a rare moment of joy. An otherwise emotionally draining and tough night. 3-14-32 the Dockers. 13-5-83 the Swans. Sydney, they are going to be 4 points clear on top of the ladder after Geelong's loss earlier tonight. We've got 13 minutes gone on the scoreboard in this, the final term. Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
Played the true winger role there, just held his width out. He's had a pretty good night tonight. Started really well, Sharp. Had the 21 touches, 8 marks, 400 metres gained, and now a goal. 1 goal, 2 actually.
Ugly bounce from the restart. Umpire will pull it back and have to go again. They're getting a little bit of a percentage boost as well, the Swans, which are probably happy with a win out here in the West, but they're going to be a game clear and adding some percentages. Fife was able to get it to Tracy in the middle of the ground for the Dockers. Then Young through to Johnson, looping handball over the top into 50. Miss Switkowski. Oh, 2 Swans ran into each other. Blakey was collected in friendly fire. He's down as Banfield gives it off to Sharp. 2 in a row. Jeremy Sharp delivers. Out of nowhere, the Dockers string back-to-back goals for the first time tonight. And the margin is cut back to 45 points. 13-5-83 the Swans. The Dockers 4-14-38. Still plenty of time in this game, but they are a long way back, the Dockers.
Friendly fire there.
Yeah.
With the Sydney defenders coming in. Blakey just caught his eyebrow, I think, by the looks. On Roberts, was it?
Staying out there for the time being, Nick Blakey.
Yeah. Didn't even break the skin.
He's tough, isn't he?
He's tough.
He's got
Can't have a flowing mullet like that.
Correct.
lizard skin.
Lizard skin.
Freo with back-to-back goals. Can they restore some credibility to the scoreboard? The restart again. One down by McLean, but went straight to Brayshaw. Got a kick away, but only up into the air. Warner dived over it, shoveled the hand pass out. Picked up by Cunningham, or Jordan rather, went back. And then a good tackle. Nicely done from Switkowski. Locked up his opposing player. He's going to have another ball up. Goulden was the player tackled. McLean wins it down once more. Goes to the Dockers though. Johnson, Sarong, now to Ryan. Kick towards right half forward. Unable to take the mark was Voss, but he was infringed to get the free kick. Looks to move it on quickly. Kicks towards centre half forward. Spoil came from Lloyd. Didn't sit nicely first time for Warner. Second bounce was better. Swept it forward to Heaney. Got a hand pass away behind McInerney. Had to stop and backtrack. Gathered on the centre circles. Gave it towards Lloyd again. Put Sydney out towards right half forward. Met there by Jordan. Gets a hand pass away again to Roberts. Kicks in the direction of Papley. Favoured Walker. Got hands to it. Walker couldn't mark though. Spills it over the boundary line. It'll be a throw in at right half forward for Sydney. 13-5-83 the Swans. 4-14-38 the Dockers. 15 gone in the last here at Perth Stadium. Repeating earlier tonight at Cardinia Park. Port by 6 over the Cats.
Ball spun back into play. McLean and Tracy do the ruck work. McLean punched it forward. It ricocheted backwards to Warner. His kick towards half forward. Fell in the arms of Jager O'Meara. Has a teammate out wide in the wing with some space. Ryan able to run on and gather. Kicks it further afield to Switkowski. Has a lead on in the pocket. Ignores that. Goes closer to the hot spot of the 50 and 5. Floats in. Takes the mark. Handballs to Sharp. Doesn't get it on the full. His kick over the head is a shocker. It rolls towards Jake Lloyd and the Swans keep it in, take possession. That was a nightmare from Fremantle. It's a kick beyond defensive 50s, a turnover. They win the ball back. Ryan gives it to Aish, runs inside the 50, misses to the right, a minus score.
Wow.
Nat 5 played on, handballed it to Jeremy Sharp, didn't get it to him, sold him into trouble. He tried to kick it over his head, almost missed the ball. 4-15-39 the Dockers, 13-5-83 the Swans, 44-point margin.
He was 30 out right in front, Fife.
Needs to go back and...
Had to go back and have a shot.
Go back and miss it, Nat.
But if there's any indication you've lost all confidence in front of goal, there it is. As Heaney kicks down the outer wing and he wanted to find his teammate in Jordan, and Clark got in the way and took it over the boundary line for a throw-in.
He wasn't even clear, Jeremy Sharp.
No.
He had players all over him.
Fife's had an immense year in the middle, but
a horrible night.
That was terrible. Caught 3 times holding the ball in the first quarter. And the restart, the ball's headed back to the boundary line for a throw-in. Take nothing away from Sydney. They've been immense, but Fremantle have butchered chances. They have squandered opportunities in front of goal. Spun back in. Grundy palms it down to Adams. Kicks inside or kicks towards the top of the 50. And Marty got up there. Came down to McInerney. High fend off against Aish. Hand pass away for the Swans to Amati again. He'll kick towards full forward. Safety first from O'Meara. Leaping up over the opposite to him, McLean. Punches it through for a minor score. 13-6-84 now Sydney. 14-15-39 the Dockers. 18 gone in the last.
Ryan kicks it up the middle. Chapman found some space. Gave the handball to Aish. He shares it with Brayshaw. The return handball, though, missed Aish. Had to go back and get it. Then gave it to Chapman, who coughs it up. The Swans win it back. Wicks kicks it inside the attacking 50. And Papley floats across and takes the mark. He has a few options pushing forward, but he decides from 40 metres out, pretty much directly in front, he'll go back and have the shot. They have punished Fremantle at every opportunity tonight, the Swans.
And you can just tell the body language of the Dockers all over the ground. Slumped over. They look tired. They spent a lot of tickets early, pressuring, and just couldn't capitalise, whereas Sydney have been able to.
Has one to his name tonight, Tom Papley. Normally a pretty good finisher. Pulled away to the left, so maybe the inaccuracy, as Clint Wilden mentioned earlier, is contagious in this second half. 13-7-85 the Swans, 4-15-39 the Dockers, a 46-point margin.
Clark again decides to come to the commentary wing with the kick. It was long, no mark taken, but getting it high. It's coming the way of Florent. Actually, he's been paid the mark. Take your pick. It's a good contested mark. Certainly did cop one around the chops as well. It's the switch play. This is Fox, the sub, who's on the ground at the moment. Comes back again to Francis, just forward of the defensive edge of the centre square. Now to Adams. Back to Francis. Cunningham is all on his own. He could, well, basically have a picnic where he is. There's no one anywhere near him on the commentary wing.
Looks like Blakey's heading down to the rooms after that. Maybe knock earlier. A cash photo down.
Blakey is being taken down into the rooms with the doctor, and he was not happy about coming off either, telling the doctor and Leon Cameron on the bench, I'm fine, but they've taken him down to the rooms to check him out anyway.
Meantime, Swans have worked it to Goulden, who stands in front of his own interchange gates beneath our position on the northern wing. Stabs it short to Florent again. Heaney's had it 27 times tonight, by the way. Florent 26, Gordon 25. So this will bring Florent level with Heaney, this disposal, as he goes back to Cunningham. Sarong's led all comers. 33 disposals. Once more gone past 32 touches for something that I think it's 11 games straight now. Kicks towards left half forward. Amati is out for the Swans. Good mark. He has attacked the football tonight. Got through a pack of about 5. Amati's about 70 from goal. He'll put it up towards the top of the square. They came from everywhere. Pearce got a fingertip on it. Spilled out the side. Wicks threw it on the boot. Misses to the right. 13-8, 86, Sydney.
Free kick, I think.
Is it? Oh, sorry.
I'm sure at 4, but
I glanced away for the score. It is a free kick. You're right. To Ryan. Free against Grundy. Ryan will move it short to Aish. He'll go long beyond defensive 50 towards left half back.
So the margin remains at 46 points. Banfield has the ball on the outer side for the Dockers. Gives it to the run of Sharp. Certainly can't knock his effort tonight, Jeremy Sharp. He's had 24 touches and 2 goals, but Dockers have struggled all night, and the Swans have been, I've mentioned a few times, clinical. It's why they sit atop of the AFL ladder. Johnson received the kick from Sharp and gave it back. Now the Dockers, number 14, wheels around and just pumps a high ball deep inside the attacking 50. Jackson flew from behind, couldn't mark. Banfield had a fumble. Now Switkowski somehow gets out of traffic, broke 2 tackles, couldn't break the 3rd, gave it to Jackson. He spins around 3 times in the tackle. The umpire says play on. And as Banfield goes to snap the ball back in, Robbie Fox just knocked it out of his hand as he went to drop it onto his boot. It's a ball in deep inside the Dockers attacking 50. 22 minutes played, final term.
Ball spun back in. Grundy got a tap on it, spilled down, bounced off his knee, came to Roberts, gave it back to Grundy for the Swans. The kick is turned over. There is Sharp, who's going to make at least some sort of impact in this final quarter for Fremantle, because he's marked at about 52 from goal. He's decided he might try his luck for a shot.
Sounds pretty confident too. Got back off the mark nice and quick. Mouth guard in the sock.
He's talented enough to kick them from here. In he comes, Sharp, with 2 goals to his name. Not a bad kick at all. It's narrow and well narrow. It misses to the left-hand side. It misses the lot. They're going to review this, aren't they?
It's been his best game for the Dockers this year, I reckon. Started really strong. He's had 10 marks. He's worked that wing really nicely on that far side.
Goal umpire thinks it might have snuck in for a goal. It's gone over the top of the left-hand behind. For a behind. Over the top of the left-hand behind post. Well, that would have been good if you got a goal from there.
Yeah. These angles in sync, we can see in all angles the ball is above the top of the behind post. Decision on the scoreboard.
Well, we know what that means. If there's no change, it's out of bounds on the foot. No score comes up on the scoreboard. Not sure that would have had a great bearing on the outcome, to be honest. But no change to the score. 4-15, 39, Freo, 13-7, 85, the Swans.
So Lloyd tasked to bring the ball back into play for the Swans. Kicks it up the wing. Flying from behind was McLean, or Grundy it was. Couldn't take the mark. Ball spills out the back towards Aish. He's wrapped up in a Sam Wicks tackle. That'll be a ball up just forward of centre wing for Fremantle as Grundy gets front position, taps it down. It's a little hot for the midfielders to rove it, so stolen by Sharp. Sarong spun in a circle, then just coughed it up straight to Warner. As he does, breaks a tackle, runs into the middle of the ground, 60 from home, sees a man over the top, chips it in his path inside the attacking 50, and McInerney tracking it back. Had to snap the head right around to track the ball, but he takes the mark. And will go back slightly better than 45-degree angle to the left, about 40 metres out.
Warner's explosiveness is pretty incredible, isn't it?
It is.
He's got faster, he's got more confident. A real reason as to the success of Sydney at the moment.
It's his first 3 or 4 steps, isn't it? Out of stoppage or with the ball in hand.
And it's super agile, isn't it?
Yeah.
Can go any direction.
Game 81 for Justin McInerney. 2 goals this year. Doesn't add to that here. Away to the left for a minus score. 13-8, 86 the Swans. 4-15, 39 the Dockers. 47-point margin. Deep into time on in the fourth quarter.
We get accused of being biased all the time over here in the West, which is always great fun, but taking nothing away from Sydney, this game has been a stinker. Horrible game of footy. Not just because Freo are losing, it's just been a bad game as Banfield moves in the direction of Walters. Goes to ground up against Florent. Dockers fans wanted 50 against Florent. They're not going to get it. Walters made the most of that. Moves it short, Walters, to Brayshaw, who marks on the logo on the southern wing. Am I my own thinking that? No, I didn't think so. No comment, but plenty of shaking of heads in the back of the box as Sarong looked to move it away, and Roberts got in front of Walters and then takes it over the boundary line for a throw-in. Here's the official attendance, 46,198. And there'll be about 400 of them that will be absolutely delighted as they go home tonight. They're those in red and white that have made their way in, sitting at the Farmer Freeway end. Their team's going to go a game clear on top of the ladder. Here's Warner. McLean, Florent, Sydney again have it. Heaney rode the tackle of Jackson. Got a hand pass away to Rowbottom. He broke the Sarong tackle. Kick missed its target though. And over the top, a couple of players. Roberts combined. Then Aish was tackled and he spilled it. Warner mopped it up. Gave it to Jordan. Kicks inside forward with Diamati. Just had enough separation on Pearce to take the mark in the right forward pocket. He'll put boot to ball from about 3 to 4 metres in from the boundary and about 45 from goal.
It's just had a little bit of a flat feeling the whole evening, hasn't it? Nothing spectacular. Workmanlike, as we know, Sydney do produce.
It has been severely lacking in a contest right from the start, with Sydney kicking the first 10 goals of the game. Amati wants a third major. Wasn't too far away, but it misses. Minor score. 13-9 now. 13-9-87 Sydney. 4-15-39 the Dockers. 28 gone in the final term.
The Swans have kicked 2 goals 7 in this final term, so it kind of explains why the game feels like it's petered out, because for a half of football, you could say one thing at least, the Swans were clinical, and that's kind of dropped off a little bit in this final term as it plateaus out. They win the ball back though on the wing through a free kick to McInerney. He goes inboard to Chad Warner and now chips it wide to Jake Lloyd. It's a statement of sorts from the Swans. They had to come out here and do the job, and the first half they certainly were all over Fremantle. The Dockers will have some questions to answer as the Swans retreat all the way to defensive 50, and the final seconds begin to tick down here at Perth Stadium.
Back to Fox, switches it out to Rowbottom. I'll soak a few more seconds off the clock. It goes right back to fullback once again. Sydney, big winners in the West. The Swans victorious by 48 points. And they go a game clear on top of the AFL ladder. Sydney 13-9, the Dockers 4-15. Season for Sydney. They did it easily in the end, kicking at one stage 10 straight goals. They led by 7 points at quarter time, by 40 at the half, by 43 at three-quarter time, to run out winners by 48. 13-9-87 to Fremantle, who were nothing short of dismal. 4-15-39. Sydney Another victory for the Red and Whites.
Cheer the red and the white, honour the name by day and by night. Lift that noble banner high, shake down the thunder from the sky. Whether the odds be great or small, Swans will go in and win overall. While our loyal Swans are marching onwards to victory.
Solid contingent of Sydney fans. They've stayed in their numbers to celebrate with their team. For the Swans, Will Hayward with 4 goals. Joel Marty kicked a couple, so too did Chad Warner. And singles to Jake Lloyd, Ollie Florent, Tom Papley, Logan McDonald and Hayden McLean. While for the Fremantle Dockers, Jeremy Sharp finished with 2 singles to Walker and to Tracy. A thumping win for Sydney. The Dockers had their chances in front of goal. They spurned far, far too many of them. What was no doubt an emotional night for Fremantle. There were tears in the eyes of their captain and former captain at the start. The moment's silence after the death of Cam McCarthy yesterday. Fremantle, though, just weren't able to put that behind them. They looked flat from the outset, and they have been well beaten. They slipped from 6th to 8th at the moment. They've got St Kilda next at the Docklands on Saturday night. Sydney will be hosting Carlton on Friday night footy, and they'll be hosting the Blues as the ladder leaders and 4 points clear after Port beat Geelong earlier tonight by 6 points. What did you make of all of that? Cara Antonio, Sharad Wellingham, our experts here in the West, Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
Well, I'm not sure what I made of it, but Freo made a mess of it. They butchered their opportunities, and, we were just talking about the game now, and it was almost like they kept fueling the fire for mine. I think that was the main thing. They kept kind of allowing the pressure to come in, allowing the intensity of Sydney to just mount on them, and it was a little bit of an odd one.
I just want to break in for a moment here. Just watched Alex Pearce and Nat Fyfe make their way across to the goal square. And they just laid some flowers down. They were wearing black armbands tonight for Cam McCarthy, as they put some flowers in the goal square at the city end. The captain, Alex Pearce, just glanced to the heavens. And they'll make their way back to be with the rest of their team. 2 of the Dockers players who would have spent time in the purple alongside Cam McCarthy. And I'm not looking to make excuses for Fremantle or to take anything away from Sydney's win, but remembering of the current squad, Fyfe, Pearce, Walters, Brayshaw, Ryan and Banfield, of the group that played tonight, along with Ethan Hughes, Sean Darcy and Brennan Cox. So 9 in the squad, 6 in tonight's team, all played alongside Cam McCarthy in the purple. There's no doubt the news that was breaking this morning about Cam McCarthy's death has had an impact emotionally on them tonight from the way that they've played.
Not making excuses, I thought they looked drained after the first 10 to 15 minutes.
They did.
Like when you've got a number of your players in that moment of silence before the game that weren't just fogging up tears, they were crying. Like Nat Fyfe had tears streaming down his face, so too Alex Pearce. It must just be draining to spend all that energy you come out. They threw a few punches early, they couldn't hit the scoreboard accurately. It just felt like they were drained, and at the end, watching the siren go, just Alex Pearce immediately emotional again. So too Nat Fyfe, just looked exhausted, and before they did that, the goal scorer, they came over and just embraced each other with a massively long hug. It must be incredibly hard, and Chad, you've been through that somewhat with Collingwood back in the day, but
yeah,
just a really tough night for them, and they'd be so disappointed with the performance.
That's exactly what it was. It would have been an emotional build-up. I think the fact that everything kind of transpired this morning probably made it even harder. I know, I mentioned that we kind of had an experience similar, but
so is it Collingwood with John McCarthy?
John McCarthy passing away. he had left Collingwood, gone to Port Adelaide, was away on a trip, and the news came back to Australia that he passed away in America, in the United States, and it was a little bit different because we were able to kind of get together and console each other and be there for each other, and then approach the game. Whereas I feel like today would have been really hard for the guys to kind of be all separated. The news filters through. You can imagine the club trying to get in contact with everybody today. It would have just been absolute mayhem for Fremantle today. For them to come to terms with what's happened, it would have been absolutely impossible. Your preparation completely changes, and as much as they're professionals and they go, all right, I've still got to do what I've got to do, you're standing in the shower before jumping in the car on the way. Your mind's not focused, and again, we're not making any excuses for Fremantle players today, but these are reasons. Like, it's not an excuse at all. It's a
real life, isn't it?
It's a factor. It's a factor. You looked at them; they were unable to really be super proactive and like they didn't look like they were bouncing on the ground. They looked a little bit.
Body language
wasn't all that bouncy.
They were everything that their coach said they couldn't be in the press conference during the week, where he said they had to be proactive or Sydney would. Yeah, they had to be proactive. They had to be up and about, or Sydney would actually get them.
It would have been interesting though, like if the first couple, 2 or 3, had gone through for goals, like what that would have done, because momentum is a crazy thing, and it fuels you, it gives you adrenaline. It would have been, again, they kicked themselves out of it quite early in the first quarter, but you're right, the emotion of they
didn't get that adrenaline kick, did
they? They didn't.
And that's where the 4 behinds, when they 3 of those should have been goals.
Correct.
And then Sydney kicked 3 straight. Let's head down into the Sydney rooms. They're making their way down there right now. Cash Fodadar is about to be with us. Last little high five from one of the West Australians. One up, they're about to come. Let's head down there in just a second. Cash, have you got us?
I do, Clint, thank you. Yeah, they're just making their way in now. Small smattering of family and friends in here. They're including former Sydney and, of course, West Coast Premiership player Lewis Jetta down here as well. After that 48-point win, which, as you guys mentioned, puts the Swans a game clear on top of the ladder. So they've come to Perth, they've got the job done, and they're all just huddling up together now to get ready to sing the songs. We just wait for the last couple of players now to come in. Dane Rampy, the last one into the rooms here. And they look like they're ready to go now. As well, Chad Warner, last one in. We'll have a player with us very shortly.
Thanks to Cash. They sound like they're having good fun down there, the Swans. Longmuir's direct quote, by the way, sit back and be reactive against Sydney and they'll rip you apart. And that's exactly what they did.
Yep.
Sydney was Sydney.
Sydney was Sydney. Freo weren't Freo.
They make you pay, the Sydney Swans.
So
and they
quickly,
kicked 10,
so quickly.
9 straight, became 10 straight at the start of the third quarter. I mean, whether you play well or poorly, accurate kicking is always going to win the game. And Cash Fodadar is back downstairs in the rooms with the Sydney Swans.
Thanks, Mitch. Yeah, I've got Sydney spearhead Logan McDonald with me, which will make Clint very happy. He's a Perth Footy Club boy, but
his arms just went up in the air.
Yeah. Logan, more importantly, focusing here on the result. You know, making it now, I think 5 wins in a row gets you a game clear on top of the ladder. How important is that for the group?
Yeah, it's always tough coming to Perth, and Freo are a good side. They're playing some good footy at the moment, and they probably didn't hurt us as much early with their kicking. They probably cost themselves, but it was just one of those days. It wasn't pretty, but our defence and stoppage work and just that sort of contest and will to get the result was good enough today.
And as a forward group yourselves, you guys were really efficient, really accurate in front of goal, 10 straight. Is that just one of those days where it comes off, or does that come down to all the work you do during the week?
Yeah, I think you're always working on that connection as a forward line every week, and Will got on the end of a few tonight, but I think our forward line's functioning really nicely. I think everyone's sort of having their chance every week to kick a couple goals, and it's making us hard to play on, and we seem to be kicking a score every week, which is nice.
And how has that forward mix been for the likes of yourself, Hayden McLean, Joel Amati, or stepping up now with the retirement of Buddy Franklin? What's it like in that forward group, particularly for you tall forwards?
Yeah, it's nice. I think we're creating some nice synergy, and like I said, there's a high range of us kicking goals, and especially a lot of midfielders as well, and it makes us hard to play on. We're not sort of relying on one person to sort of keep us in the game. So we keep working on that, our connection. We know we can keep getting better. Probably weren't at our best today. We just took our chances, but Carlton on a Friday night's a big one now.
I'll send her upstairs to the team, who I know have got plenty of questions. Clint Wilden, Mitch Turner, Sharad Wellingham and Cara Antonio.
Logan, congratulations on the win and welcome back home. Akash kind of stole my question. I was going to ask just around Buddy last year, and obviously you spent a number of years with him, had an awesome apprenticeship. What did he teach you? What did you learn from the great man?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, he's the hardest trainer I've ever seen. When he was out there, or he obviously couldn't do as much as he could in his later years, but when he was out there was no one that was training harder or with more intent than him, and there was no secrets why he was one of the greatest of all time. And I've just tried to emulate and work as hard as I can, and just try to contribute.
And obviously it's quite competitive for spots at the moment with Luke Parker still missing out on the side. What does that create down or within the four walls? Obviously an incredible culture, but can you let us in on what that kind of builds within the four walls of the Sydney Swans?
Yeah, I think we're a strong side at the moment. The fact we've got one of the greats of the game that struggling to break through is really good for us. I think we've got a lot of boys in our midfield especially that are playing consistent footy, and it's helping us win games. So we know the type of person that Parks is going to chip away, and we know that he'll get his opportunity and he'll take it with both hands.
Logan Sharad here. Congrats on a great season so far. I feel like the ladder's probably started to settle, and you guys are sitting pretty. Where's the improvement, do you think, most come for you guys this year? Snuck into the finals in 8th, I think it was, last year. Sitting on top at the moment, where's the biggest improvement come from you guys?
I think it's just the buy-in to our defence. We were probably inconsistent in that last year, and just when things start to go wrong or the other team's challenges, we just keep going back to our defence and contests, and the buy-in on that front is just helping us stay in games, and it's really good to see, and we're always going to be able to score. We know we've got exciting players on the offensive side of the ball that are going to help us kick a score, so we just got to bring our contest and defence every week, and it'll put us in a good position.
And did you think for tonight's game, it felt like Fremantle's inability, I suppose, to have any presence forward of the ball really fueled your ability to turn it over, and the turnover game, was that something that you really tried to focus on coming into tonight?
Yeah, I think it's no secret in modern day footy that you've got to be able to turn the ball over in the front half, and I think every team tries to do that, and when you put the pressure on teams, it's such an important part of the game as well, pressure. So some of our key indicators are just our pressure and forward half turnovers, and we know if we bring them, the game and the score will take care of itself.
We obviously know Fremantle have had a pretty tough day. Did you feel like they were a slightly drained side? You can imagine the emotion that's gone in for them today. Did you feel like they were slightly drained, lethargic? Was there any of that, or was it just off the back of your immense pressure?
No, they're a quality side. I think the scoreboard flattered us a fair bit today with their kicking. And they're the best clearing side in the comp, and we saw that all day. The amount of territory they could get off that really helped them set up the game. They probably just shot themselves in the foot a bit, but I've got no doubt they're going to win a lot of games in the future.
Logan, Mitch Turner here. Great to have you on. Logan was one of the first people I interviewed as a uni student back when he was playing for the Perth Demons for Clint's club, so it's great to chat to him again.
I love how it's Clint's club.
It is Clint's club, Logan. He's the biggest Perth Demons snuffy there is.
Outside of Adrian Barrett.
I'm glad you appreciate it. Logan, what's it like as a key forward leading out to a midfield like Isaac Heaney, Errol Gould and Chad Warner, who seem to have so much time and space delivering the ball towards you, and even Nick Blakey when he decides to run up from half-back?
Yeah, I know. I'm pretty lucky. I think I lick my lips every week. Some of the ball users and the creativity they can have inside, outside of their foot just really opens the game up. And like I said, like our offensive side of the ball, like we've got some exciting playmakers through there that can really break the game open. We always know that's going to be there. It's just finding other ways to win and with our defence and contest. But yeah, we've got some exciting midfielders and half-backers, and they really help set the game up for us.
Friday night game as well, so the early game in the week. Do you get a chance to stay in Perth for a day or two and see family, see friends, or are you heading back with the team?
Yeah, no, I'll stay down to Sunday Arvo and really spend some time catching up with friends and family. But we flew down Wednesday, which was good as well. So I've had a good few days here, and it's always good to get back. Obviously, it's such a long flight, and can't always catch up with people as frequently as I want to, but it's always good to see you, and it's even better after a win.
Logan, it is Clint Wilden here. Two for you. One, a random one to start. Why was Chad Warner wearing boots that Errol Goulden has signed? What's that about?
I have no idea. It seems to become a thing at the club where everyone just signs each other's training gear and boots. Like, there's boys running around with signatures over their training tops and stuff. I don't know. But I'm surprised you guys picked that up on that. But I just shake my head at it, to be honest.
I'll be honest, there was a shot of it on the television cameras after one of the shots at goal, and I thought, what on earth is going on with that?
How could you tell it was Goulden's?
Because it had a 21.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Worth a lot then.
Could have been my signature.
Could have been your signature. That's worth a bit less these days. Logan, the one question that all the Swans fans want to know is you're sticking around in Sydney in the red and white?
I'm happy at the moment. I'll just let my manager and the club work through that, I think.
You played a very straight bat. Now, that's very impressive. But I imagine even if specifically without dealing in a time frame, you look at all the youngsters that you've got working around, all the players that are developing. You mentioned that midfield. It'd be a hard place to leave, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I'm in no rush to get it done. It'll sort itself out. But I'm happy here, and it always helps when you're winning. And I've got a lot of mates at the club, and I'm really enjoying my time. So that'll take care of itself, and we'll get done when it gets done.
Well, just on that, Logan, Will Hayward is one of your teammates who it's rumoured he's getting some big offers from other clubs. Have you tried to have a chat to him to get him to stick around? 4 goals tonight, 4 goals last week. He's in terrific form. How important is he to your side to keep around?
Yeah, he's a hard matchup. He's very bouncy, and he's quick, and he's strong and good overhead. So he can score goals in a range of ways, and obviously he's a very valued member of this footy club, and we'd love to have him. And he's playing some really good footy and contributing. And yeah, we're a hard team to stop when he's playing well, and very hard match up. But yeah, I'd love to have him. So hopefully he gets that done soon.
Last one from us, Logan. How has life changed now that you are one of the focal points in Sydney? I'm not talking on the football field, but around Sydney, because they love a big goal kicker and they like winners, and you're both at the moment.
Yeah, our fans have been great. I think our next 2 home games are already sold out, so they've been coming out in droves, and we love that. And we've just had a fantastic time, and our fans are great. And it's not too much, Sydney. There's still rugby state, but they definitely come out when you start winning more, that's for sure.
Well done, Logan. Always good to chat with you. Good luck for the Cleveland Browns again next season.
Thank you.
Logan McDonald downstairs. What are you laughing about, Jared Willingham?
Does he go for the Browns?
He does go for the Browns. So that's another tick for him. Goes for the Browns, comes from the Perth Football Club. 2 ticks.
What EPL side does he go for?
He doesn't really fire them. I did ask him when he won the WA Football Media Guild Rising Star a couple of years ago.
The audacity of Sharad to say it may have been him that signed the boots with number 21.
I thought that was quite quickie.
I love that, 21. You signed as 21 or do you sign as 12?
Depends who asks.
Depends where they're coming from.
You won the flag in 21, so...
Yeah. Depends what colours they're wearing when they are.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to sign a West Coast card in a 21. I've done it by accident. But
have you really?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. And I think I did it for the first 6 months as well, just by, habit.
Yeah. That's great.
Before I remembered I was 12.
Yeah. Well, you just got to reverse the numbers around. By the way, in a serious note, Sydney by 48 points, 13-9-87 to Fremantle's 4-15-39. We'll take you to the press conferences if we get a chance. Only with you for about another 7 minutes. So before we do anything else, Mitch, get you to have a look at some of the numbers, then we'll get the votes in the ABC Football of the Year and in the Christian Medal.
Now, some of the final numbers from a team stat perspective to start us off. Disposals, Sydney had 377, the Dockers 369, so the Swans edged ahead in that particular area. 128 marks to 97 the way of the Swans as well, the way the game style panned out. 77% disposal efficiency or kicking efficiency for the Swans, 69 for the Dockers. The contested possessions won by the Swans, 115 to 110. Sydney won the tackle count, 52 to 42. The hit out count, no Sean Darcy for the Dockers, 41 to 13. The way of the Sydney Swans. Brodie Grundy with 33 of his own. The clearances, though, the Dockers continue to win that stat, 28 to 27. The free kick count, 17 to 13, the way of the Dockers. The inside 50 count, 15 to 46, the way of the Swans. Those are the key team numbers. Some of the individual stat getters. The leading possession getter on the ground was Caleb Sarong with 34 touches. He had 11 contested, 3 clearances as well. For the Dockers, Jeremy Sharp with 28, Luke Ryan 26, Andrew Brayshaw 25. For the Swans, Ollie Florent led the way with 28 touches. So too Isaac Heaney, just continuing his stellar year. 28 touches, 13 contested, 5 tackles, 8 clearances for Isaac Heaney. Jake Lloyd, 26. Nick Blakey, 26, but of course was undergoing a concussion test, we believe, late in the game, which could have ramifications for the Swans, considering they take on Carlton next, which is a massive clash for the top of the table Swans. So Nick Blakey, we await the result of that concussion test.
So Sydney by 48 points. The votes in the ABC Footballer of the Year.
Bit of a tough one tonight, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a bit tough. I felt like there was obviously a few that stood out for Sydney, but even contribution across. But we've gone the one to Haywood with his 4 majors. We thought he was really, really good. 2 to Chad Warner, just broke the lines, was really powerful and set him up ahead of the ball. And the 3 to Isaac Heaney, just really strong for 4 quarters all night.
Okay, 3 to Heaney, 2 to Warner, 1 to Haywood. So we do need a 3, 2 and 1 for the Christian Medal.
Yeah, this was a little bit even more hard. The one I've gone for Walker. I thought he was quite consistent across the 4 quarters as well. Had a roll on Papley and nullified him and kicked a goal himself. The 2 to Caleb Sarong. You read his stats out. Awesome game. But the 3, Jeremy Sharp, especially late in the game, kicked a couple of majors and his best game for the club thus far.
Okay, so 3 to Sharp in the Christian Medal, 2 to Sarong and 1 to Walker, repeating Heaney, Warner and Haywood, the 3, the 2 and the 1.
Heaney's running away with that.
Romping away.
And the Coaches Association.
And he'll do that as well.
Maybe interesting to see who the Coaches Association go with tonight.
A couple of texts to go through. Good call, team, says Emrose. Who did the most turnovers? And following on for another question, is it behind a turnover? Well, it's not. It's a scoring shot.
No.
It does give the ball back to the other team. No, it's a scoring shot. We'll see if we can find that out for you. Marcus from Ballarat, go the Swans. I feel for the Dockers tonight on the passing of their friend. And another correspondent, do let us know your name when you text in, by the way. Freo lost a mate, and they certainly did. One positive for the Dockers. There weren't too many of them, but one positive. They've raised $61,918 tonight for their Purple Hands Foundation. The third of these that they've had. Their previous year raised $26,000. They were hoping to raise $40,000. $61,918 raised tonight. The money for that goes to Purple Hands, which is the charity arm of Fremantle. Helps deliver programs that tackle some key social issues that impact youth. 5,000 light-up wristbands are available for purchase tonight. It's gone a long way towards providing that sort of figure, 61,918.
It's tough to find a turnover stat individually at this point, but clangers, which is the kind of the next closest thing, Nat Fyfe led the way with 10 clangers for the Dockers. They kicked 8 goals, 6 from turnovers, the Swans.
Brayshaw 6, Young 5. So they're 3 out of 4 of their key midfielders.
Had a lot of
clangers.
turnovers, and 8 out of their 13 goals from direct turnovers.
And 5 in forward half of the ground as well. So.
And, yes.
Turning it over in very bad spots with bad execution.
And 15 behinds, only one of them rushed. Only one.
And 3 or 4 out on the full in the end?
Yep.
I've got
and Jeremy Sharp, who failed to register from the Fife handball.
I've got
include that.
3 out on the full, from like one to Sharp, one to O'Meara, one to Young. There may have been more. Nat Fyfe, I hate to criticise Nat Fyfe because he's so spectacular in the middle, but I think we've spoken about this before. When you take a Mark 30 out right in front, it just shows that he's lost all faith in his ability to convert when he's looking to play on. What do you do if you're Fremantle? What do you do with that?
You've got a responsibility. If you've gone forward, you've taken a mark within distance, go back and have a shot. Again, we know that he's battled that.
Better to have a shot and spray it than cook it like he did.
And for Jeremy Sharp to try and kick it over his head, sums up Fremantle's night, really, to be honest.
Yeah, there was a couple of those moments. Well done to Sydney. A big win in the West. And fascinatingly, a couple of them continue their unbeaten records over here, none more so than James Jordan. He must love coming to the West. He came over here a number of times from Melbourne, 6 times in fact. Never lost here. First time here as a Swan, he's won again. Sydney go top of the ladder. They're a game clear after the Cats' loss. Geelong went down by 6 points to Port. Sydney tonight, 48 points to the good over Fremantle. Join us tomorrow, wherever you are around the country, as ABC Sport continues.